It's the Mixed Martial Arts Hour with
The Mixed Martial Arts Hour is back in your life on this Monday, June 6, 2022. Hello again, everyone. I'm Erin Helwani. Hope you're doing well. We are live right now, right? What happened there, Frank? We break the fourth wall here. Frank came in my ear and said 1 minute out, and then the music started playing. What was that? Were you trying to throw me a curveball? What happened? Did you just forget that we started at 1 and not 101?
Yeah, I don't normally do your count on. So
yeah,
I was just thrown off.
He goes, 1 minute away, and then the music started. I'm like, wait a second. I needed to do my
Happy Monday.
prayers. Happy Monday, everyone. It's good to be here with all of you. It's a beautiful time to be alive. It's June. I just like saying June. I just like the way it sounds. June, July, August. I mean, what's better than this? Unless you live in, New Zealand, Australia. It's winter this time. Here, it's beautiful. It's beautiful outside. It's great to be here. We got a lot to discuss with a lot of interesting people. By the way, bit of a youth movement on today's program. Guess age 24, 23, 26, 29, and 28. The oldest guest on today's program is 29. How about that? I'm feeling very old. In fact, I was talking to Jeff Molina last night, and he said he's been listening to me since he was 15. I mean, what is going on here? He's 24. 9 years ago, I was already a dad, for goodness sakes. We're getting old here, Frank. We're getting old. I can't speak for, the rest of the crew, but you and I, we're getting old together. It's a beautiful thing. We're aging very gracefully. As always, we are presented by our good friends over at DraftKings. DraftKings Sportsbook is the official sports betting partner of not only the UFC, but more importantly, the MMA Hour. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app today. Use code THEMMA for a special offer when you sign up. Again, that's code THEMMA only at DraftKings Sportsbook. And it's a great time to sign up because UFC 275 is a mere 5 days away, going down in beautiful Singapore. Great time to sign up as well, because the H-Dow is back. Big news, Frank. I don't know if you heard the breaking news on Saturday. It was a tale of two Saturdays. Of course, Herb Dean robbed us of the Biggie Boy win, the Jairzinho win, but we were able to bounce back. I was feeling bad, and this is, a lesson to us all. Don't lick your wounds. Don't feel sorry for yourself. Get right back up. And I said, you know what? I'm going to make this official. H-Dow, Devin Haney, via decision, plus 110, I think it was. Boom. You're welcome to everyone out there. So the H-Dow is back. We're on a bit of a winning streak now. Thank you very much. We already have our sights set on a couple of guys and potentially gals for UFC 275. And of course, our resident betting expert is over in Paris right now. Mr. GC is over there. Taking it all in. The sights and sounds. He was at the French Open final yesterday. He slammed that one. No one has gone to more big-time sporting events in 2022 than GC himself. The guy is living the life, and we shall miss him very much. But his presence will still be felt on not only today's show, but the next 2 weeks. He's gone for the next 2 weeks, but he has provided us with some information, with some slides, with some picks.
Where is he?
He's in Paris.
Oh,
this is great. It's a beautiful Monday night. He might be listening to us right now.
he better.
It's 7:04 p.m. over on the Champs-Élysées. This is beautiful. He's probably walking, having a nice post-meal espresso, right? Maybe a little escargot, a little croissant, maybe an eclair for a little dessert. What are some other...
Escargot and an eclair, that sounds...
Well, you have the escargot first, and then you have the eclair.
And then cheese
dessert.
at the very end, right?
Oh, a little cheese, of course. A little, what is it called? Oh, God, I can't... a charcuterie board, right? In charcuterie...
I thought that means lunchable in English, right?
No, charcuterie. It's like a smorgasbord of things. You got... The best ones have cheese, a little... jam, I know some of you people like to have like the meats and stuff, the salamis and whatnot. I don't partake. Olives, key. You know, one great thing that ESPN used to do when I would go to the events at T-Mobile Arena, they would have a nice little charcuterie board. Shout out to Elizabeth for that. And Chael and I would sit in the back and try not to talk to anyone And we would have our cheese, our olives, our jam, and we would sit there for 7 hours taking the fights. And I miss that. That's actually the only thing I miss about the UFC events is the charcuterie dining with Chael P. Sonnen. In any event, GC's over there. We miss him dearly, but his presence will be felt back into the show. We'll recap the picks. We'll talk a little 275. We'll talk about the weekend. Biggest result of the weekend as far as combat is concerned, Devin Haney, no doubt about that. The big win over George Kambosos, down under 40,000+ at the Marvel Stadium, site of UFC 193, site of UFC 243. Kambosos made 10 million. Haney made 2.8 million. All right. Alexander Volkanovski, we could get into this. Alexander Volkanovski can go over there and draw more, in my opinion. He ain't making 10. He ain't making 2.8. And if any one of you wants to argue about this, that, and the other, go ahead until you're blue in the face. The point is, Volkanovski's a bigger deal down under, if you ask me, and he ain't making anywhere near that, if you ask me. If you don't see the problem in that, well, I'm sorry. I can't help you. New York Rick is here, and we'll talk about the weekend that was. We'll talk about Jairzinho getting robbed. We'll talk about my big win with the Haney H-Dow pick and whatever else tickles his fancy. At 2:30, we'll be joined by Brandon Moreno. Big interim title fight for him, July 30th in Dallas against Kai Kara-France, rematch of a fight that happened in December of 2019. Deiveson Figueiredo, very upset about this. He's been talking, just spoke to the Brazilian beast, Guilherme Cruz, talking up a storm about the interim belt, feeling disrespected. We'll not only talk to Brandon, we'll talk to Kai Kara-France, who's waking up at 6 a.m. in New Zealand to do this interview with us. So shout out to him. And then we'll have Bo Nickal, who had a massive win. Remember that name, more on him in a moment. We'll also have Erin Blanchfield, who had a big win this weekend as well. But first, let's go to the Zoom machine and say hello to our first guest of the day. Very excited to talk to the 24-year-old Jeff Molina, who everyone, the viral sensation Jeff Molina, who everyone's talking about right now in the world of MMA. Big win for him, remains undefeated in the UFC, a name to watch out for in the flyweight division. Congratulations on the win, Jeff. How are you?
Ariel, my man, I told you this last night, but I've been a fan of yours for a pretty long time now. What you created on this platform is awesome, and I'm stoked to be on here talking to you.
Oh, it's my pleasure, and thank you for that. I appreciate it very much. Congratulations to you on the big win. By the way, have you rewatched the fight, and do you feel like you won? Because, of course, the elephant in the room is it appeared as though you walked off thinking that you had lost, that you weren't going to get the judge's nod. Do you feel any differently on this Monday?
Man, I've watched that fight at least 10, 15 times now. I'm my world's biggest critic. I'm the same way after every fight. I do think I won that fight. I think the first and third rounds were mine. As far as me walking away at the end of the decision, I've been on the shit end of the stick of a split decision before. And I think maybe that was just the pessimist in me thinking they gave it to the other guy. At the end of the fight, I thought I won. I thought I'd done enough. I do remember getting clipped in the second, so I gave him the second just off damage. But I felt that the biggest criteria in the sport is damage. In the first and third round, I had that. And he was holding me against the fence. He came to hold me. I came to fight. And I think that's why I walked away with the win.
All right. And, of course, your opponent, Zhalgas Zhumagulov, I believe I'm pronouncing that correctly, a tough, hard-fought battle. It seemed like afterwards you weren't happy, though. Like you weren't happy with your performance. I know earlier in the week you said it would be your best performance, finish, all that stuff. Do you feel better about the performance now on the Monday?
No, to be honest, I don't, brother. Frustrated with how I showed up that night, or that day, I should say. We fought early as shit, dude.
Yeah.
Let your boy drink some coffee before he gets into a fist fight, man. Our report time was 8 a.m. in the hotel lobby. Cut, mouthpiece, ready to rock. Yeah, still frustrated at the performance, man. I feel like just an off day. You know, I felt like whatever. It wasn't my best performance. I'm going to get better from this, man. I feel like Zhalgas doesn't have the best track record inside the UFC, but the dude's good, man. He's got some big wins outside the UFC. He's got wins over Ulanbekov, Bogatinov, Tyson Nam. Two of those guys are UFC staples today in the flyweight division, and those were 5-round fights. So I feel like he hasn't had the best track record in the UFC, but it doesn't take away from what he's done in the sport. And the guy's good, man. The guy's good, and he came with a good game plan. I'm just frustrated with my inability to break the body lock. The dude's strong against the fence, but I think the judges had it right, man. I came to fight. He came to hold me, and kudos to him. It's a smart game plan, and I'm going to get better from this.
By the way, the early start time, did you spar early in the morning to try to get used to fighting that early?
No, not really, but I didn't even know it was early start time until about 2 weeks out. So I guess like we practiced at 10 a.m. anyway. So 8 a.m. Vegas time would be 10 a.m. Kansas City time. So it's not too big of a difference. But as far as like mapping out like when you want to eat in the morning, like we had to wake up at like 5:30 to make breakfast, just to make sure like we had something in our bodies before going to the venue. Little things like that. It's not that big of a deal. I'm just bitching. But come on, man. Let your boy drink some coffee before he gets to a fist fight.
Here on the East Coast, we like that early start time very much, but I totally get it.
I'm sure.
Now, I have to say, Jeff, I have some friends who know that I cover MMA for a living, obviously, but aren't MMA fans at all. A couple of them sent me the clip of you speaking at the post-fight press conference saying, I know nothing of this sport, I don't watch it, but this is my new favorite fighter, speaking of you, based on what you said. And we're going to get into all of that. And I'm just curious what the last 72 or so hours have been like for you, because I saw the clip that Junkie posted. It has over 1 million views now, and that's not typical for a fight night press conference. So if we could go back to the beginning of this, you decide at the beginning of the week, they let you with the kit choose what you want, and you chose the Pride colors because it's Pride Month, correct?
Yeah, something along those lines. I get an email about a week or two out from the fight, probably 2 weeks from the fight, saying, hey, for Pride Month, we're allowing fighters, if they'd like, to get the rainbow vinyl on their shorts and fight kit. So the hoodie and the shirt would also come with the rainbow vinyl. I saw that email. I texted my manager. I said, hell yeah, let's get the rainbow vinyl. Because I thought it looked cool first and foremost. You know, I thought changing it up. I've had the same black shorts for the last 2 fights, whatever. And let's change the color of the vinyl first and foremost. Second of all, it's a good cause. It's Pride Month. And yeah, I was for it. So I texted House. He texted me back with like an LOL. Yeah, let's do it. And that was that.
Okay. And so you get there, you get your stuff, all good. I believe you tweeted about it. And then you had to send out a subsequent tweet because you were getting some love from people who I guess, were in support, but then you were also getting some hate leading up. What was it? Like if you could break it down 50-50, 60-40, the love, hate, what were you getting when you tweeted about the picture?
It was strange. It was strange, Ariel, because I thought of something so
simple.
Like nonchalant.
Yeah.
Simple, like minuscule, just like, dude, check out my shorts. There's a rainbow color on it. This is cool that the UFC is doing this for Pride Month, right? And then I didn't look at my phone for a couple hours. I try not to be on my phone too much for fight week. And then I look at my phone and the comments are like split, right? Like, no, actually not really. The comments were pretty much all pretty hateful. Like there was a couple narratives in the comments of like, man, the UFC is just doing this to exploit. It's a business tactic. They're doing this for money. They don't really care. Blah blah blah. And the other parts were, man, you support gay people, you're gonna burn in hell. Allah will make sure you burn in hell, or God will make sure you burn in hell. And dude, I'm telling you, there's like dozens and dozens of these, and like they get like, dude, people were like, you should get cut from the UFC for supporting faggots and like there was a lot of those, man. And I was like, dude, like I wanted some rainbow vinyl on my shorts, and that was coming in. And then I looked over to the DMs. My DMs on Twitter, man, were like about split with the love and hate.
Yeah. And
from the love side, it was like a lot of guys that were like, hey man, I didn't know you rolled that way. I think you're cute. Like, and then on the other side, it was more of the same hateful, spiteful things. And I felt like I just had to address it, because I was genuinely shocked, brother, by like, I know what Twitter is, man. Like I'm a young kid. I grew up with the internet. I grew up on Xbox live chats. I can handle the hateful comments, man. They don't bother me really at all. I just felt like I had to address it in a following tweet of just like, hey guys, I'm a heterosexual male. I am straight. I appreciate the love. I'm flattered. I really am, man. People think I'm good looking. Let's go. Yeah. I'll take it, man. DC at my debut weigh-ins said I'm not the most attractive flyweight in the UFC. Wow. He said that. He's like, I don't see it at all. I don't think he's that attractive. He said that verbatim. So to get some love from men all over the world saying I'm a handsome guy, I'll take it. But I felt like I had to address it, that I'm supporting the cause, but I'm not a part of the gay community. But more power to you, man. Like, all love here. And then on the other side was the hateful, spiteful shit I was receiving, and it's just like I didn't think it would result in the amount of. And I understand this is Twitter, man. I understand these are random accounts from all over the world, and some of these guys don't have any followers. Some of these guys don't have a profile picture. They're just burner accounts. But it was just, I feel like it had to be addressed. Like, to those that are saying this hateful shit, like, you guys aren't on your own are the problem here. You know, like, you guys are what's wrong with the world.
And so did you consider not wearing it after you got that leading up to the fight?
Absolutely not. No.
Okay.
No. If anything, I wanted to get a bigger vinyl after that, man. Like, man, yeah, no, that thought didn't even cross my mind.
Okay, and then you get to the post-fight press conference after the hard-fought battle, and you go deep into this, and that's the clip that has gone viral. What has the reaction been to that? Because I've seen, and I'm looking, from afar. I'm not as deep into it as you are, but I saw you getting a lot of love after that. I saw a lot of people quote tweeting saying, "I love this guy. This is my new favorite fighter." Are you feeling that as well, or are you getting a ton of hate as well?
Man, I've been getting both sides of it.
Okay, still.
And that's fine, man. Like I said earlier, the hate doesn't bother me, man, at all. It's more shocking than anything. But yeah, it's been cool I've had a ton of, I'm trying to get back to everybody on Instagram and Twitter. Anytime I have some free time, I'll get back to people reaching out. But it's really cool, man. Man, I was asked a question at the press conference. I think it was the second to last question, or maybe the last question. And it was like, "Hey, let's talk about the shorts real quick." And it wasn't something that I had thought of or like planned on talking about, but it was asked. And honestly, it just, I just spoke what I was thinking. And what's weird, Ariel, is like, I feel like I'm being appreciated for something I shouldn't be appreciated for, if that makes sense.
I get it.
And I'm not trying to backtrack on anything I said. I spoke 100% from the heart. I meant exactly what I said. But it's like being applauded for saying, like, murder is wrong. It's like this should just be common. Like, rape is wrong. Racism is wrong. Being hateful towards someone for who they love is wrong. And who the fuck cares, man, at the end of the day? And that's the only thing that makes me feel weird about this whole situation. And at first, like, I wasn't retweeting any of those the people that would retweet the video, just because, like, I understand that it's a community that's been marginalized and oppressed, and that's why I said what I said. But at the same time, it's like I know I have a platform as a fighter, fighting for the UFC for the biggest organization in the world. But at the same time, it's I feel weird being appreciated for something that should just be fucking, like, just common decency, just being a human being, just not hating someone else for something they can't control. And that's why I said what I said. And yeah, I was surprised by it turning into like almost a small viral video that went around Twitter and Instagram. But that's the only weird feeling I have from it, is just the feeling of being appreciated for being a fucking decent human is almost bothersome, if that makes sense. But
no, I couldn't agree more. Very well said on your part. What you said on Saturday was very well said as well. But like you're saying, you're being applauded for, and I couldn't agree more with everything you said, for saying something like, "Oh, breathing air or drinking water is good for you." I think to most sane-minded people, it's an obvious, but you see a story like the Tampa Bay Rays and their players. I don't know if you saw that story yesterday, where they didn't want to wear it. And it's now makes what you did and what you said even that much more impactful, and says a hell of a lot more about you, an athlete in the public eye, willing to do this because you think it's just the right thing to do. So I give you a lot of props. I do want to ask you about a guy named Mohamed Mokaev, who went in my DMs today and said, "Ask this man, Jeff Molina, about me. I want him next." Now, Mohamed has a fight against Charles Johnson on July 23rd, so not to look past him. But for whatever reason, he really wants to fight you. How do you feel about fighting Mokaev if he gets past Charles?
I love it, man. I love getting all these call outs. Odell Osborne called me out on Saturday night as well, or Saturday morning, I should say. I love it, man. October is the timeline I'm looking at. Me and Mikhail are going to cross paths in the future. I guarantee it, man. Another part of being here talking to you was I didn't want the conversation I said in the post-fight conference to be the reason I'm here talking to you. I wanted to be, when I talked to Erin Helwani the first time, it's because of the work I put in the last 10 years of my life, because I dedicated my sport to this life. I dedicated my life to this sport, and it's because I'm good, man. It's because I'm 3-0 in the UFC. I'm young. I get better every day, and I wanted that to be the reason I'm talking to you.
And by the way, it is
not
the reason.
anything else.
It is the reason. I mean, I won't lie, that piqued my interest more. But when the great Ed Cap, who works for Jason House, the PR
he's the man,
guru, I love that guy. No one does the job better than him. When he asked me if I wanted to have you on, I hadn't even seen your comments yet, for the record. So I just want to then I saw them. I was like, oh, damn, this will be even greater. I'm really happy he's on. But I just want to let you know, it was because of the stuff you said earlier in the week, and also because of how good. And I like your vibe. El Jefe, you're fun, man. You're really fun, and you're great for the division. So I just want to let you know, that's why I want to ask you about Muhammad and other stuff. It's not just about your comments, which I think are great in their own right. And if that was the only reason, it would be great as well. But it's about what you've been doing and how you've progressed as a fighter.
Thank you, bro. As far as the fight, man, yeah, we're going to cross paths in the future. I tell my manager this. I tell Kraus this, my head coach. If they like it, I like it. I'll say yes to anything they like. So if they say yes, I tell them to sign for me. Like, okay. They don't even have to talk to me about the fight. Tell me the date. Tell me when I got to be there, and tell me who I'm fighting. That's it. Me and him will cross paths. It's inevitable, man. I really think I'm gonna be a world champ someday, and I get better every single day after every fight. I know I'm gonna get better from this fight. I've already leveled up, I feel like, and I'm gonna be a world champ someday, Ariel. I'm gonna hold that belt one day. That's all I want. That's my one goal. It's for one night to hold that belt, and I feel like I'm gonna do that. So me and Mikhail will see each other, man. He's a young guy. I'm a young guy. If I'll see Mikhail sometime in the future.
Okay, and we'll play this clip when you win that belt and tell everyone that.
Let's go.
All those years ago. By the way, I read an article about you in UFC.com or on UFC.com where you talked about this dark place that you like to go to before your fights. Can you tell us about this dark place? What does it feel like? What does it look like? Man, fighting is such a weird sport. There's a lot of like emotions that come into it, and on fight week, there's the last place a fighter wants to be is in their own head for the most part. That's why it's on the people you bring out with on fight week to kind of keep your mind busy and kind of just keep you out of your own head. But there's times where you want to be in your own head, and leading up to the fight, especially that last 4 weeks, man, I really like to get into that dark place, man. I like to think violent thoughts, and that's just what fighting is. You know, at the end of the day, it's a one-on-one competition, and some guy's trying to hurt you, and that's how he wins. And you're trying to do the same to him. And that dark place is just, you know, something that I let my mind go to when I'm on a run or on fight week and I'm sitting in my room. On fight week, there's times where I want to be with my teammates, chopping it up, watching Netflix. And then there's times where I just kind of want to be in my own thoughts, thinking of the fight, trying to visualize every possible scenario of the fight. Me getting dropped, me shooting into a single leg to clinch up, to recover, me dropping him, and the finishing sequences. And that's the dark place I like to get into, man. And really, it's just another word for visualization. But, you know, there's some violent thoughts. You know, I'm thinking of throwing a tomahawk elbow and opening an Xbox logo on his forehead. Like those are thoughts that are going to my head on fight week and leading up to a fight. And, you know, like I don't want to be having these like lovey-dovey thoughts, talking to like the girl I'm talking to, or even like having, like, I'm going into a war, you know, like this guy's literally trying to hurt me. He's trying to inflict pain and damage and take a dream away from me. And I'm trying to do the same to him, man. So yeah, that's the dark place I'm talking about. It just makes it sound cooler than calling it visualization, but I like
that's what that is.
Could I ask about your father? You told us last year that he was battling cancer. How's he doing now?
He's all right, brother. He's still recovering. Yes, leading up to my debut, he got diagnosed with kidney cancer. which sucked. Obviously that's cancer in general is a very shitty thing, and we talked about him being at my debut ever since I started in the sport. He said, I will be at your UFC debut. Unfortunately, he couldn't do that. He was in the middle of treatment. But he came to my sophomore outing in October. He was able to attend that fight at the Apex. He's doing better now. He's still in a lot of pain all the time, which sucks to see, but he's doing better and still in recovery.
Okay. Well, we wish him the best. Hopefully he makes a full recovery. By the way, El Jefe, great nickname. You and Dylan Dennis share that nickname. So I'm just joking. I'm joking.
I had that nickname first, bro.
I know.
I've had that nickname since I was 14 years old. I had my first kickboxing fight at 15. I already had that nickname. Way before that Queef had it. He's not even a fighter. When's the last time he fought?
We are approaching. I was just thinking of this morning because I was thinking of the nickname. We are approaching the 3-year anniversary of his last fight. It's pretty remarkable. But why El Jefe? What does that mean? Why'd you get that nickname?
Yeah, El Jefe.
El Jefe.
I got that from my.
I've exposed myself.
Yeah. I get both though. El Jefe, kind of like play on words with my name. So
Yes.
my childhood best friend's dad, which both of them have passed away at this point. So RIP to them. But his dad, my dad would take me over to his house every morning in elementary school and middle school, and they would give me a ride to school. And he was a Mexican guy, and he would always say, "Your name in Spanish, since J's are pronounced as H's, would be Jefe or Jefre." And that's not accurate at all. Like in Spanish, my name would still be Jeff, but it was just his way of kind of like trolling me. So he'd call me Jefe or Jefe or Jefre. And that stuck, man. That stuck. My buddies throughout middle school would all call me Jefe, Jefre, just kind of messing around. Eventually that translated into Jefe, like in high school. So people would call me Jeff or Jefe. And on the wrestling team, the same thing. Everyone would be like, "Yo, Jefe." And I started training MMA at 14. And my coach, Jason High, vet, UFC vet, World Series vet, PFL vet, Dream vet, everything vet, would call me Jefecito. And he said, "I'm not calling you Jefe until you're 18. You can't be the boss until you're 18. Because the literal translation of Jefe is boss or the boss. So he stuck true to his word. He didn't call me Jefe until I was 18. And then when I turned 18 at my amateur debut, and he called me Jefe. And that's how I got that nickname, man. It's just play on words with my name, Jeff, Jefe, and then the little translation, the boss. Like right. I'm running things when we're fighting. I'm the boss in there. I'm running the operation.
Well, I'm a big fan, man. You are the boss. You're doing great. 3-0 in the UFC. Had the Contender Series win as well. 11-2 overall. You're still so young. You have so much more career left, and I look forward to the day that you fight for that belt, and we could play that clip of you predicting that you'll be a champion. Well done on the win. Well done on everything you said before and afterwards, my friend. You're a great role model, and looking forward to having you back on in the future.
Oh, man. Thank you, brother. You're talking to my teammate later, Brandon Moreno. Tell him I said what's up.
I will.
Thank you, brother.
I will. There he is. Jeff Molina, kind enough to join us, part of the youth movement on today's program. 2 New Jersey natives back-to-back on the show. Jeff born in Lakewood, New Jersey, and now we're going to have another Jersey native, Erin Blanchfield, on the program. And she had another big win, an impressive win, a submission win over JJ Aldrich, just 23 years young. Let's go to the Zoom machine and say hello to another person who a lot of people think will be a future champion, Erin Blanchfield. Erin, how are you?
I'm doing great. How are you, Ariel?
I'm doing really well. Congratulations. 23, multiple wins in the UFC. Just got your first finish. Could you describe what life is like for you now? Are you exceeding your own expectations and wildest dreams?
It's kind of everything I expected. Like I went pro at 18, so I expected to get into the UFC pretty young. I've always expected, I've had high expectations out of myself. So getting those 2 first wins were nice, but I really wanted that finish, and I was super happy to get that finish Saturday. Yeah,
deadly finish as well. I mean, the guillotine was beautiful. I would imagine this, of your previous performances, this was your favorite in the UFC, right?
Yeah, definitely so far.
Yeah, and you even had the call out ready. You want the winner of Macy Barber or Jessica I coming up later. Why that fight?
They got on a big card, and I feel like I I want to get like some fights against bigger names coming up. I've had tough fights. Like the girls I fought were tough, but I definitely want to start fighting people a little bit bigger names to get myself out there a little bit more. So I think either of those girls would be a perfect fight for me.
Are you at a pool party right now? What are you doing on this Monday?
Well, actually, I'm down the shore right now. I'm about to go to the beach after this, but I'm at a Starbucks right now.
Oh man,
because I wanted to make sure I had some Wi-Fi so I could talk to you.
Oh, I appreciate that. So this is how you're celebrating down in the Jersey Shore.
Yeah, today, and then I'll probably go back next week too. So, yeah.
Yeah, no, it's a good time to be there. And so have we put, because I know you were a student at Montclair State and you were studying communications. Have we put all school on hold for now that you're climbing the ranks in the UFC?
Yeah, like last year when I got in, like last April, I finished out that semester because I was studying like sports media kind of stuff. And I kind of like knew like once I got into the UFC, I wanted to put school aside. It's something I kind of like talked to my parents and stuff about. So once I got in, I just haven't gone back since. Not totally writing it off, but just for now because I want to put all my focus into fighting.
Obviously, my interest gets piqued when I hear someone wants to be in sports media. Like, what would you want to do? What's your dream job? If once the fighting stuff is over, if you had to go back and do that, what would you want to do?
I mean, for me, I kind of want to get into like commentating and stuff like that. Like, honestly, like I feel like the perfect job would be like an ESPN analyst for like the UFC. I could definitely see myself like going into that in the future. I feel like I definitely need some more experience like in that type of work, but that's definitely like my goal like after fighting.
Was that something that you wanted to do as a kid growing up as well?
No, not really. As a kid, I always wanted to fight because I've been training since I was like 7 years old. But as I got older and I started realizing, you can only fight for so long. Like I figure I'll probably be done like early mid 30s. You have a whole life after that. And I know I want to stay involved in the sport in some way. And I feel like since I've put so much time into this already and I know so much about the sport, I feel like that kind of can be a natural transition for me.
Who got you? So 7 years old, you first started training. You were first introduced to martial arts. How did that happen? Who got you into it?
So actually, I was dancing before that, and I just quit dancing right around then when I was 7. And my younger brother, Brandon Blanchfield, he was cornering me last week too, was already training. Actually, my mom put him into like a little kids program just to get him started, just to learn how to defend himself. And I went to go watch him, and I didn't know like girls really trained at all then. And I remember seeing like a girl that was a black belt at the gym at the time. And I went to my dad. I was like, oh my God, like girls can do this. Like I was like so like taken aback. And then they offered me like an introductory class. And then from then I was like, oh.
And he was your younger brother. So how old was he when he first started?
He was 4.
Wow. Geez. Were your parents, I believe your dad has a background in martial arts, right?
No, not really. I mean, my dad boxed a little bit as a kid, but he didn't really compete or anything like that. Yeah, neither of my parents really did martial arts growing up, but they just loved the idea of us like knowing how to defend ourselves. Okay.
And then you took your first kickboxing fight when you were 14?
Yes. Yeah, I did. On like a day's notice.
A day's notice. And your parents were okay with this?
Well, I didn't tell them. Actually, I was at the gym. Yeah. It was like during the summer. And so I just like was going to the gym like every morning, training with like the fight team at the gym I was going to at the time. And they did like amateur kickboxing matches out in Pennsylvania. And I guess they had a matchup and one of like the girls on our team like fell out. So they asked me if I could take it. And right away I was just like, yeah, sure, I'll do it. Cause I've already competed in like some like other local, like kind of like kickboxing like tournaments, but not like a legit fight before. So I was kind of comfortable with it. And I remember like calling my parents right after I told them yes. And I was like, oh, I'm fighting tomorrow. My mom was so mad at me because they had like a wedding they had to go to the next day. But my dad, I don't think really wanted to go. So he's like, it's okay, I'll go with you. Like your mom can go to the wedding and I'll drive you to Pennsylvania to go fight.
Did you win?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
Yeah, it was a tough match, but I won.
Did you consider going down the kickboxing route as a pro, or was it always MMA?
No, I always wanted to do MMA. I just did kickboxing and stuff as a kid because in like Jersey, New York area, you can't do MMA till you're 18. So I just wanted to gain experience like in grappling and striking growing up. So that's why I did that. But I always wanted to do MMA.
How old were you when you decided like, I'm actually going to try to do this for a living? I'm going to try to make it to the UFC.
I would say about like 12, 13. It was before the UFC had women. It was like when Ronda Rousey and Miesha Tate were like fighting in Strikeforce. I remember that's like the first, because my dad was always a big fan of the UFC. He watched it all while I was growing up, but I didn't really pay attention to it until like I saw some girls fighting. And I remember like that fight for the title when Ronda and Miesha were fighting was like the first fight I remember like actually sitting down and like watching and paying attention. And like after seeing that, I was like, oh, like I've been already training this for years. And I could see myself doing this in the future. I feel like then is when I started kind of taking it more serious and seeing myself having, and then the UFC opened up the women's like division, maybe like a year or so after that. So once I saw that happen, I was like, oh, I think this is what I want to do.
Wow. Yeah. So that was, that first fight was March of 2012. They introduced women February of 2013. So you were like 13 years old or so.
13.
That's crazy. Did your friends watch this as well? Like, were your other friends who were girls watch this as well, or no? Not really.
Probably not my friends at school, but I had friends like at the gym and stuff, so they kind of knew about it. So we were kind of all into it together. I think like it wasn't as popular like mainstream until like a few years later. I would say till I was like a little deeper into high school.
Okay. And now here you are, and people are saying you're potential future champ. You have that in you. When you hear that sort of thing, that's a lot of pressure to live up to. How do you internalize it? How do you deal with that?
Yeah, I mean, that's what I expect out of myself too. Like, honestly, I feel like I probably wouldn't have done this if I didn't feel like I could be a champ at some point. And, you know, I definitely want to improve and get better, but I know that I'll have that strap one day.
You feel how long? Like, how long do you think it takes? Obviously, the Jones record is out of reach as a 23-year-old youngest champion, but that's okay. There's no issue with that. How long before you're in that title conversation in your mind?
I mean, I could see it happening within the next 2-3 years. I feel like that's probably the soonest. But I'm not too stressed about it. I feel like as long as I keep getting the wins in and I keep fighting and I stay healthy, it's going to come. But yeah, if I keep winning the way I am, I feel like in the next 2-3 years or so.
Why is your nickname Cold-Blooded?
The cold-blooded came from my dad. Actually, he kind of made it up while I was competing, like growing up. He always said like, oh, I just like go in there and I was like, had like no emotion and I just like go and beat people up. And it was kind of like a family thing. We kind of like joked about it. And then once I think it was when I went into the EBI, they like asked if I had a fight name and I was like, you know, I'm going to go with that. I'm going to use Cold-Blooded. And then it stuck from there on.
Is that how you are in everyday life as well? Somewhat stoic, cold-blooded?
I would definitely say I'm more of a stoic person. It takes a lot to get some emotion out of me. I feel like I have to like basically finishing fights is like the only thing that gets me really like riled up. But like other than that, I would say I'm a pretty stoic person.
And your division in focus this weekend, Valentina Shevchenko against Taila Santos. Do you think Santos can knock her off?
No, I don't think so. I mean, Santos she's a tough fighter and she's pretty well rounded, but I don't think she has anything that Valentina can't handle. Okay,
so another win for Valentina. Yeah. Is that the dream fight for you?
Yes, Valentina is definitely like one person I want to. I feel like she'll still be there within the next few years. I know she has like she doesn't want to stop anytime soon, and she always talks about that, how she wants to stay champ forever. But we all know that's not possible. And I feel like that's like the one fight I definitely want to have. I want to be that person to dethrone her.
That's the dream. That's what you're working towards. What would be a bigger deal, to dethrone her or to become champion?
I feel like dethroning Valentina to become champ would be the biggest deal, because I feel like whenever you dethrone someone that's so dominant, it makes it like that much sweeter. You know what I mean? Kind of like what Juliana did to Amanda not so long ago.
Right. All right. Well, you're well on your way. Congrats on another big win. Congrats on a great showing, a great finish. Thanks for doing this at the beach. Appreciate you, and good luck in the rest of your career. Good luck in the next step.
Thank you.
All right, there she is, Erin Blanchfield, still undefeated in the UFC, 9-1 as a pro, wins over JJ Aldrich, Miranda Maverick, Sarah Alper. We're trying to introduce you to some fresh blood here on the program. So we have Jeff Molina, who had that big win, and we had Erin Blanchfield, probably the biggest win of the weekend as far as MMA is concerned. Another guy who went viral, but in this case, it was because of what happened in the cage. Bo Nickal, who we spoke to Jorge Masvidal about last Wednesday. He fought on the Jorge Masvidal's Icon FC 3 card in Virginia. That was Friday night. had an incredible win over a guy named John Noland, and they were both making their pro debut. But I mean, I saw the knockout. I retweeted it, and then I'm not saying it's because of me. I'm not trying to give myself the old Barry H. But then a few hours later, I saw it had almost 1 million views. It probably has well over that at this point. So you're welcome, UFC Fight Pass Twitter. That one's on the house. Tremendous stuff. Everyone speaks so highly of him. This is a guy who won the national championship as a member of the Penn State Nittany Lions. He was a tremendous wrestler in college, 3 times. Hodge Trophy winner, much like the great Ben Askren. Everyone at ATT, everyone who's been around him has been saying this is a future champion. He is just 26. He fights at 185 pounds, and we all know about the wrestling. But if the striking continues to improve and evolve like what we saw on Friday, and it just lasted 33 seconds, he is going to be a very, 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 very special fighter and a name to watch. And quite frankly, if I'm a promotion, including the UFC, I'm signing him today. Forget about the UFC, but they've done this before with other people. They've signed them, and then they have you go fight in LFA or whatever, regional promotion that's on Fight Pass, which makes a lot of sense. They should honestly do this more. If I'm Scott Coker, if I'm the PFL, if I'm any promotion under the sun that wants to make a mark, that wants to, have some homegrown talent, I'm signing Bo Nickal today. I'm signing him on Friday. Quite frankly, I'm signing him last week before the fight. He's that special. Everyone that I speak to about him says the same. And what I like about him is he talks a big game. He talks about, being able to out-wrestle Khabib Nurmagomedov, saying that he's going to be a future champion. He gets the showmanship part of the sport. He gets, that you have to sell yourself, but now he's backing it up as well. Let's say hello to Bo Nickal, who's now 1-0 as a pro MMA fighter. He joins us now via the magic of Zoom. What's up, Bo? How are you?
What's up, Ariel? I'm doing well. Thanks for having me on, man. I appreciate it.
It's good to have you. We had a bit of like a Twitter spat, you and I, a couple of weeks ago. I honestly, I don't even remember what it was, but I think you were upset with something that I said, right?
We had a Twitter spat?
Yeah, it was you and I. I was like, wow, I thought Bo and I were cool. I thought we were boys.
We were boys? I don't know about that. I feel like
wow,
I've always liked you. I've always thought you did a great job. And then honestly, from the very first time my manager tried to get me on your show, you were kind of like, I don't give a crap about wrestling. I don't care who this dude is.
What?
And I'm like,
that's
I heard you say this. You're like, listen, we got our show booked up. We can't have this dude on. And I'm like,
yeah,
I always liked you, Ariel. But then I do my first interview with you. You're like, can you take a punch? I'm like,
oh, that's where it is. So, that's where it is. I didn't say.
Yeah, that might have been what it was.
Okay, first of all, Abe or Malky they're not giving you the right kind of information. Second of all, I had you on the show before you were even in one amateur MMA fight. How many dudes do I have on the show before their first amateur MMA fight? Now you've been on my show twice after you're a pro.
No.
I mean, we're getting in our feelings here, Bo, a little bit. I mean, come on.
No, don't get me wrong. I appreciate you having me on. I know you have a big platform and you do a great job. So I want to keep that straight. I'm just saying, I felt like I was there on the call when my manager asked you to have me on, and you were like, nah, this dude's a wrestler. He ain't a fighter. And so
that's such a lot. What are you talking about? He ain't a fighter.
You were in the right. I'm not saying you weren't in the right to do that, because I'm a freaking wrestler with no fights. Like, why would you have me on your show?
You know what's the truth? Can I tell you what the truth is? I have DC right there. You know, Henry, all these dudes are wrestlers, right? I mean, we love these guys. The truth is, I get a call from Amalki and Abe every day about that guy, the next best thing. And I say to them, yeah, okay, let's have one amateur fight before you tell me you have the next best thing. I mean, AJ Ferrari, they tell me all day, now he's going to pro wrestling. I mean, like, come on. Could we just chill out for a second? But I got love. And we talked about you all last week and we hyped you up. So I'm just.
Absolutely.
And then the punch thing was, I've heard from people like, wasn't that the thing about Jordan Burroughs? He didn't want to get punched, right? Isn't that the thing that people have said about wrestlers that maybe you don't want? So I wasn't saying you don't want. I was just saying, are you comfortable with this?
Okay.
That's all. It's a question.
Hey, it's all good. I'm not offended at all. And I again, this is a good opportunity. I appreciate you having me on. This is cool. Like I'm a 1-0 pro. Like,
yeah, this is great.
This is great for me. So I appreciate it. And I mean, that question makes sense too, but you also got to know, like, me and Jordan Burroughs are two different cats. So I think as my career continues to build, you'll see that.
I like it. I love the confidence that you have in yourself. I like the bravado. I love the things that you say. What's life been like? I mean, that clip went viral, man. It went everywhere. What's life been like since the win?
Oh, it's pretty cool. I have definitely gained a few followers on social media, which is great and stuff like that. But yeah, it's just big opportunities coming to in the future. Obviously, you mentioned I'm with Abe and Malky with First Round, so they're chatting with a whole bunch of people and stuff. Organizations interested in signing me and things like that. So definitely have enjoying the moment, and it was a very cool thing that happened, and a lot of hard work went into that to getting that fight. It had been 7 months since my last fight, so that's a long time, and for me to not have been competing, and now I'm kind of just focused on the future, trying to pick my next moves.
Why did it take so long?
So originally I was like wanting to fight February, March, and I was actually going to do another amateur fight, and we were going to do it in State College PA in Rec Hall, where Penn State wrestles all of our home matches. And so we were, working on getting this event set up, doing it ourselves, and things just didn't exactly work out. They got pushed back. The fight got pushed back to April, and so I'm like, okay, fine, I'll fight at home in April. And then the dealings with the commission and with the university just kind of like wasn't going well. There was like too many pieces, too many people involved, and it ended up falling through. So then, now I'm like, all right, I don't have a fight. And then, in addition to that, just like getting me an opponent is tough. So we're trying to like find me somebody to even fight. And luckily, I was able to, jump on this Icon card in June. And so that was just kind of, things here and there, and things getting pushed back, not finding an opponent. And yeah, it just took a little while, but it is what it is.
So here's the thing. I said this before you joined. I don't know if you heard me. If I'm a promoter right now, I'm signing you today. I'm trying to sign you today. Like if I'm Scott Coker, I'm trying to sign you right now. I'm trying to sign you before this knockout, to be honest, but now even more so, right? If I'm the UFC, I'm trying to sign you, and maybe we put you in other Are these, are Abe and Malky First Round, are they talking to these types of guys, or are you not interested in that right now? Like, do you want to fight, bounce around and just pick up fights, and then maybe your value is even greater, and then you could talk to the big boys? What are you thinking?
No, we're definitely in talks with the big boys. Every promotion that is on the map, all the big promotions, we're having discussions with them. So, that's something that's on my mind. For me, the main thing is development. Like, again, I'm a 1-0 pro. I don't have 10, 15 fights, like that level of experience. So, I want to get experience. I want to get fights and continue to build and grow and get better. And I think I'm going to do it. It's weird because I say that, but I also think like I can do that really quickly. It's not something where I need so many fights before I'm in a big organization, but I kind of just feel like, I trust my team. I trust the guys around me. I trust Abe and Malky. I trust Dan Lambert, Mike Brown, all the people at American Top Team to, help guide me. And so like, this is definitely new territory for me, but I feel like I'm surrounding myself with good people and making sure that I'm listening to their advice and what they have to say as far as like, matching me up with the right opponents, making sure that I'm doing the right things and respecting the process of what this is like. Cause I did wrestle for 20 years, but this is a completely different sport. I'm jumping into it. I'm less than a year in. So, continue to respect development, respect the process. And if I'm ready to go and everybody thinks I'm ready to go, if Mike Brown, my management, everybody's like, hey, you're ready to, fight in a main card in the UFC event, like, let's go, let's do it. So I believe in myself. I know I can do it. I just want to have, everybody else confirm that for me as too.
Do you have a preference where you go?
As far as organization?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm out to be the number one pound for pound fighter in the world. So that's what I want to do. That's what I'm here to do. And that's what I'm going to accomplish in the next 5 years. So we all know where I have to be in order to do that. Now, will I be there right away? Will that be, the first organization that I sign with? I don't know. It's hard to say, but that's where I will be without a doubt within, half a decade.
So just to be clear, within the next 5 years, pound for pound list, mixed martial arts, Bo Nickal's number one. That's your prediction.
Yes.
And you'll be a champion by then as well.
100%.
No doubt in your mind.
No doubt in my mind. No doubt in my mind. I mean, I think that, it's a long path. There's a lot of things that can happen in 5 years. That's a long time, especially in the MMA world. I'm not ignorant. I'm not oblivious. I'm not like, one of those dudes that like says all this crazy stuff that like, I think these are realistic goals for me. It's not something where I don't ever like set a goal out and just like say it to say it, like, oh, I'm going to be world champion or, oh, this and that. Like, that's something that I've thought long and hard about, not only what I want to do, but the timeline behind it too. And I feel like that's a feasible accomplishment for me. Like, I'm not going to say inside a year. I'm not going to say inside 2 years, but 5 years, I think that's absolutely doable for me. And considering the amount that I put into this sport, the amount of energy that I put into my training and how disciplined I am, and again, having the right people around me, I think that's absolutely doable. And I know for a fact that I will do that.
Just curious. I mean, obviously, I would imagine you'd say if we were going to score this like on a 1 to 10, your wrestling is at a 10, right? You feel like that's what you do, national champion, Hodge, all that. Where if wrestling is at a 10 on the same scale, where would you put your striking right now?
I mean, are we talking like relative to my wrestling, or are we talking relative to like the rest of the world?
The rest of the world.
I don't know. Not that high, like 3, 4.
What about relative to wrestling?
What I think, I mean, relative to my wrestling, it's like a 0.
Okay, all right.
And relative to where I think it's going to be in, 2, 3, 4 years, it might as well be a 0. Like I've been training again, less than a year, 10 months. And I've made a lot of development, and I'm not going to sit here and act like I'm a world-class striker, because I'm not, but I know where I will be soon in a few years. And the amount of energy that I put into this, I don't think people can match that. And yeah, I mean, I think I'm gaining on everybody every single day.
I saw some comments from Ben Askren that I wanted to ask you about. He was very complimentary of you, obviously, as is everyone in the wrestling world. But he said you're the last of a certain type of breed. Like, you're the last of the Hodge winners that is going to come over to MMA after wrestling and do what you're about to do, because now guys are going to stick around and there's money to be made and all this stuff. Do you agree with him that, in the future, guys like you who are multiple-time national champions, Hodge winners, are actually not going to go to MMA like we've seen over the last, 10 or so years?
I think so. I think that you really got to want it now if you're a wrestler going into MMA. Like, that has to be like something you really want. Whereas in the past, if you were a wrestler, like, you almost had to go to MMA if you wanted to make any money. Like, there was no opportunity. Nowadays, there's a lot more opportunity. I know people that wrestle matches and get paid tens of thousands of dollars, and it's not Jordan Burroughs or, David Taylor. It's guys that you wouldn't think. So, people can make money in wrestling nowadays. In addition to that, having, regional training centers paying people full-time salary just to train every day. So, that wrestling has really changed and evolved in that way. And I don't think that a lot of people will transition over to MMA like the past. And I think for me, I just love it. I love fighting. I grew up fighting. Like, that was something that was kind of always part of my life and that I enjoyed. And so it was not like a forceful thing, because at the end of the day, I think I could have stuck with wrestling and been a world and Olympic champion within this next cycle too. So I really just wanted it and felt more passionate about MMA than wrestling. And that's what kind of led me to that decision. But it wasn't like I had to transition over thing.
For those that may not have seen you, obviously you haven't showed us a lot. I mean, that fight just was 33 seconds. Of the guys who were great collegiate wrestlers, amateur wrestlers, and then transitioned over to MMA, who would you say your style is most like right now and could end up being like the most of those guys? Is there anyone?
Like my fighting style or wrestling?
No, your fighting style. Like, who do you think you will end up looking like the most?
I'm going for finishes like every single fight. I mean, so I think a guy that especially early in his career had a lot of finishes was John Jones, and he had diversity too. I mean, obviously my wrestling accolades were a lot better than his. Yeah. But he stopped wrestling really young. Like, I stopped wrestling at 25. He stopped wrestling at 20, something like that. So, I think he could have been that type of athlete in wrestling had he stuck with it too. So I see myself, emulating a lot of his attacks, of his styles. I mean, we're both long guys, explosive, powerful. So, and he was out there just finishing dudes, whether that was with strikes, elbows, kicks, knees, submissions. And that's kind of how I see myself too, because to be that number one pound for pound that I want to be, I can't go out there and take a dude down and hold him down for 5 minutes. Like, I got to smash every single guy I fight. So, the guys that did that are the guys that I'm trying to emulate that style.
True or false? Of all the national champions turned MMA fighters, when it's all said and done, Bo Nickal will be the best one.
True, without a doubt. I mean, it's also hard because it's like, are you going to compare somebody that fought 5 years ago, that fought 10 years ago? I mean, like a saying goes, I hear this a lot, is like, we stand on shoulders of giants. So I have all this data, all this film of guys that I get to watch before me. So, I really have a big head start on every guy like that. So, in my opinion, when my career is over, I will be better. But I think that somebody's going to come along behind me and blow me out of the water too when I'm retired. So I just think like that's a hard comparison. I think that will be true, right? Like, if you compare any sport 20 years ago, like the guys now are better. But I think that's going to be the same thing in the next 20 years. So, for me, it's just about doing what I can in my time, in my moment. And the comparison and stuff, everybody will want to play that game. And just for me, it's about just knowing it in my heart.
I enjoyed the comments about Khabib. You said that you would out-wrestle him in a competition if you guys ever went toe-to-toe. Khabib fans are a crazy bunch. What kind of reaction did you get to those comments?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people were like, they don't understand. Like, they don't understand what I'm saying. And it's just, I think that more than anything, it's not really an opinion. It's a fact. It's like, what I compared it to was, the guy asked me if I would beat Khabib in a wrestling match. I'm like, dude, I wrestled my whole life. That's like asking me if I'm going to stop a Cristiano Ronaldo penalty kick. Like, I'm not going to stop it. Like, he's going to hit that 100 out of 100 times. Maybe one time he hits the crossbar, but like, I'm not touching the ball. Like, it's the same thing. So for me, I really didn't like the question that it was brought up, because I'm like, I don't want to even answer this, because I'm just going to sound kind of like a jerk, because everybody's like, obviously loves Khabib, and I have a ton of respect for him too. But I just think like, that's my sport. I've done that my whole life, and I'd go out and do the same thing to somebody that did it their whole life too. So what's going to stop me from doing it to Khabib, who's never competed in wrestling?
Right. Khabib, though, I hear, great spike ball player. So he might be able to get.
Is that right?
No, I'm making that up, but I'm trying to make you think that he can. I hear that you're legit. Like, you could go pro in spike ball as well.
I got range. I got some range. I'm pretty good. We play a lot in wrestling and in the wrestling room and stuff. So, I can play. I mean, I wouldn't put myself up there with like a pro player or anything like that, because I've played with the club team at Penn State, and those dudes, some of them are sick. Like, they do stuff that's just like doesn't make sense. So, I mean, if I did it like competitively and played like every single day, I think I would get there. But I mean, just walking up like off the street, like I can hang, but I'm not like a pro.
Right. Fair enough. And by the way, that ATT that they were opening up close to Penn State, is that fully up and running?
Oh yeah, fully up and running. It's been up and running since August. So that's when I started training this past August, and that's when the gym opened up. So yeah, I'm there pretty much every day. I'm down in Coconut Creek probably every 6 weeks, 8 weeks maybe. And yeah, kind of, those are the two spots that I'm training at. And
it sounds like Jorge is going to come down to the ATT that you're at in Pennsylvania to try to, I mean, at this point, I think he recognizes that he's a little old to reinvent himself as a wrestler, but you think that you can try to get that train back on track?
I think so. I mean, I would love for him to come up here, and that's my guy. I really, for me, love learning from him. Sharpening up my game. He has so much experience, and he's had so many fights and has such slick striking. So I love learning from him, and I feel like we have the absolute best wrestling in the world here in State College. It's really truly second to none. We've already got, I think, 3 guys on the world team this year, and we have another few competing on Wednesday to make the world team. So, I mean, out of 10 weight classes, we're probably going to have close to 50% of the weight classes in America represented for the world team. And so, I mean, like, I would love for George to come up here and train, and I'm sure he would get a lot out of it, just because the level is just different. Like, you can go train wrestling in an MMA gym, and you can have, maybe an all-American wrestler in there that's good, but like, basically the worst guys that we have in there are like all Americans. So, you know, I would not even worse, least accomplished, right? Like least accomplished guys are all Americans. And so it's really no choice but to get better when you're in that type of environment. It's a truly different level than anything that MMA has ever had opportunity or access to.
So perfect world. When do you fight again?
I'll fight again in August. So that's the plan right now. I'm taking probably till Wednesday off because I'm going out to New York City to watch my teammates compete in the world trials, and then be back on it Thursday and train through this month, train through July, fight in August.
Do you have that date yet?
I don't have a date yet, but my management team and I are working on it. So I want to get as many fights as possible by the end of the year. I didn't think like after this fight that I would get as much attention as I did as far as like organizations wanting to like help out and get me fights. Cause they're like, yo, whatever we got to do to just get this dude more experience, get him fights, like we'll do it. And so I kind of thought like, oh, like we're still going to be in slow play mode where we're going to have to figure this out ourselves. So I pretty much booked up my June with like traveling and training and stuff. And so had I like hindsight known this, I wouldn't have booked anything, and I would probably fight again in July. But because of that, I'm traveling, like I'm going out to Cali to see my strength coach at the training lab and see some other people out there. And then after that, you know, the pretty much most of the month is going to be gone, and I'll start back up in July. But yeah, it's looking like August, hopefully, you know, first couple weeks in August, then I can turn around and fight again in September.
What are the chances you sign with one of these big organizations before August?
I don't think that I'll sign before then. I think that I'll probably get 2 more fights is kind of what the message has been, you know, as far as what's been relayed to me is I need a couple more fights, which I'm fine with that. I don't care. I want to get experience. I want to fight.
Who's saying this? Your management or the promotions are telling you? If it's the promotions, they should be slapped for saying this.
It's both. I've been on phone calls with, you know, all of us together, like you know, group calls. So that's I mean, I'm that's not every promotion either. That's just, you know, specific promotion. But and there's other promotions that want to sign me right now, I would imagine. But to get to like the top, then we're talking, you know, I need a little more. They want to see a little more. But yeah, I mean, I'm fine with that. I know where I'm headed, and I need experience. I need fights right now, in my opinion, regardless of who I'm signed with or where I'm at. I want to get fights.
They want to see a little more. I mean, that is crazy. They want to see a little more. If I'm one of them, I sign you, and if they don't want to put you, you know, like on one of their shows, which I think is crazy. Look at the attention that you're getting for fighting. You know, let's be honest, someone who's, you know, a no-name guy, right? I mean, yeah. What are these guys talking about? This is crazy.
I know. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to get in there. So whatever they think, let's do it.
Are we good now? Are we buds again?
We've always been buds. Always.
I didn't know you were holding on to a 3-year grudge. You know, I wasn't aware of this.
No. Hey, listen, we can always be buds, but I'll remember that.
Oh, God. No. Okay, so what's going to happen is you're going to be pound for pound great in less than 5 years. You'll be a champion, and then you're going to really hold this against me and be like, I'm not talking to that guy. He didn't believe in me when I was still in college and said I was going to be like a million other dudes, but that's fine. Listen, if you want to use me as...
exactly. You figured it out. So like right now it works out because, you know, I'm still up and coming. Like, right. You know, we're at the point where this is great for me. This is great for my brand. But as soon as I get a little big, I'm done. See you later.
I'm done.
Yeah.
All right. Perfect. I can't wait for that. It's happened before, by the way. Congrats on the win, Bo. Great win. Great stuff. It's going to be a lot of fun to watch you, you know, climb the ranks, and then to say, I had that guy before his MMA debut on the show, because you're about to be a champion. Everyone knows it. And it's rare that someone like you comes along. So it's going to be a lot of fun to watch this, you know, from beginning to where you're about to head. So thank you so much for the time. Good luck to you, and congrats again on the win.
Thanks, Ariel. Appreciate you having me on, and yeah, see you soon.
All right. Looking forward to it. There he is, Bo Nickal. Remember that name if you're not a wrestling fan. And this is crazy. I mean, his dude called me up and he's like, oh yeah, we want to have you. And honestly, I remember who was on that show. That might've been the show with The Rock on it. Bo Nickal. It was Who's on? I can't find it here. Anyway, not important. And I guess they had me on speaker, which is a shady move, and I'll have to talk to them about it. But he was on. I put him on, so I don't know how you can hold it against me. And then we've followed, and then he has the pro debut, and we have him on. So I don't think I could be blamed for this one, if I'm being honest. But everyone says he's a future star. Everyone speaks very highly of him. And that has happened, by the way. Someone has held a grudge and then only kind of cashed in the grudge when they became a superstar, i.e. Rousey, Ronda. Held on to the grudge, but then only really got mad about the grudge when she became a superstar. Very bizarre, very bizarre. Bo's not that kind of guy. I feel like he's not that kind of dude, and it's going to be a lot of fun to watch his rise. Now, big fight July 30th. We spoke to Jeff Molina earlier, flyweight division. Let's focus on the flyweight division in this hour. We've got one half of the interim title fight, July 30th, Dallas, Texas, UFC 277. It's 6 o'clock in the morning, 6:05 to be exact, in New Zealand. Let's say hello to Kai Kara-France, who, I mean, this is a record. I don't think anyone's come on this early, Kai. You're unbelievable. Thank you so much for doing this, my friend.
Cheers, bro. Anything for you, bro. Anytime.
I appreciate it.
My pleasure.
You know, we have our guy Connor in the back. He has your poster up the entire time. Every time we go to him, the producer in the back, your face is on the wall, and he wears your T-shirt. He's on vacation today in France, so he's going to be very upset that you're not here. He loves you and bet on you to beat Askarov and is betting on you again in July. And so let's talk about this title fight. Were you surprised when you got the offer to fight? I know you said you were ready, but when you found out it was an interim title fight against Brandon Moreno, July 30th, rematch, by the way, of a fight that happened in December 2019, were you surprised that that was the offer?
I guess, yeah, I was, just living my life. I was actually about to leave for my uncle's funeral when I found out the news. So, I had other priorities happening when I found out it was on a Sunday, and I was about to fly down to middle of the North Island and where I live. It's like a 6-hour drive. So I was about to fly down like an hour flight to be with my family. So I was kind of like on like a high, my manager called me and he said, hey bro, I got it wrong. They're not going for the fourth fight now. They're doing the interim title and you and Brandon are fighting for it. Figueroa is injured or he's out. So at the time I was like, oh, this is everything I've worked towards. And then after I got the phone call, I was like, sweet. Got the date booked. I'll go be with my family, be there present, and then after that, then I can start to work towards the goal. So, yeah, it's crazy how kind of things work out. That uncle that passed away, he's actually my namesake, so that's who I'm named after, kind of thing.
Wow!
So it was kind of like it was meant for me to go home, be there with my family, and kind of send my uncle off, and then it just kind of tied everything together. It's like, okay, when I win the title, I'm going to bring it back down to him and celebrate with him. So yeah, it's a great place to be now, where I can just put my head down, focus, and that's what we've been doing. So great atmosphere in the gym, and it's just kind of perfect timing. I haven't really stopped training since that Askar fight, which was on my birthday. And yeah, this is everything I've worked towards my whole life. So kind of fitting. It's a rematch. We fought each other over 3 years ago. So yeah, we get to do it for the title. So I'm excited.
I'm very sorry to hear about your uncle and his passing. Was it a sudden passing or was he not feeling well?
No, he'd been sick for quite a while.
Okay,
so,
I'm sorry.
Yeah, something that we expected, but yeah, it's always a sad thing. But you just got to channel it and use it and harness it, turn it into something positive, and yeah, carry on that legacy.
So you get this opportunity to fight for the interim belt against Moreno, and I would imagine you would feel this way, but I just want to ask, you've improved a lot probably since that first fight against him. Would you say that you have improved more than he has improved?
We've both improved a lot. We're both different fighters since that fight. But yeah, definitely, I feel like I'm on another level. obviously he went on to win the belt after we fought. But he's been fighting the same guy for the last few years, and I've had different looks. But yeah, I think the biggest thing about Moreno, he's mentally on another level, where he's just hard to kind of break. He's always going to be game. He's always going to be in your face and bring the fight to you. And I like that style. I like when people do that. I like when the fight gets messy and you kind of just show that you want it more. And I think that's the difference of me. Obviously my skills gone better technique wise, but mentally I just know I'm the best. And when you're in there and you know that, you just know it's going to be your night. And whoever they put in front of you, it doesn't even matter. My last fight, no one wanted to fight Ashkarov. I didn't realize that everyone in the top 5 actually turned him down. No one wanted to take that risk. So when it came across the table with us, we said, yeah, we'll take it. Because when you just know you're going to put together the perfect game plan, when you go in there and you just back yourself, doesn't matter who they put in front of you. They could put, anyone. I just know that I'm going to find a way and we're going to come out on top. So they could put Brandon, they could put Figueroa. It doesn't matter. I want to fight the best, and that's just where I'm at. I don't really care who it is. I'll get in there and get it done. I know Dallas is close to Mexico, so I know Brandon Moreno will have the hometown advantage, but that's what picks me up. That's what gets me out of bed, just knowing that I'll be in like hostile territory and he'll be feeding off his hometown and I'll be in there to spoil the party. So I can't wait.
What would you say is the biggest difference between you and the first time you guys fought? Between you today and, almost 3 years ago?
Well, definitely being a father now, having a son, just made me prioritize, who I want to be and what I want to be, and how I want to support my family. And then to do that, I just got to put everything into this and prioritize everything, and just trying to be that best version of yourself. So, that translates into everything. So I definitely, being a father and being a husband, just in a different place when the first time we fought, where it was in a different headspace. And now with this kind of support system that I have around me, just allows me to do what I need to do, and it helps me. It doesn't hurt me. So I think that's been a massive difference. And then just experience. This will be my 10th UFC fight now coming up. That's a lot of the ring time. It's just kind of perfect timing. So it's a 5-round fight, my first 5-round fight. So I'm excited to, test myself in those championship rounds, but I don't see it going all 5 rounds. I know we're flyweights and we've got cardio and we're fit. I can see me putting him away. I'll find the button. But in the first fight, I was finding my targets first round, finding the shots. But this time when I do find the shots, I'll make them count, and we'll get the finish. If you can see in the background here, a bit little memorabilia.
Oh yeah, there it is.
From the Cody.
That's the Cody fight, yeah.
And then on the other side,
there's Cody again. Why'd you choose those?
I actually got given them as a gift.
Oh wow.
Yeah, Chad, the photographer, last time I was in Vegas, he's like, I want to give you these in person. I took these photos, and then that's
amazing.
Pretty cool.
Yeah.
Special time, but ready to make more memories.
Now, what about this Davison Figueiredo? He doesn't seem to be very happy these days. He said this to Guilherme Cruz of MMA Fighting: "The belt is mine. There's no other belt except for this plastic belt. This joke they're doing between Brandon Moreno and Kai France. If we have a chat and the UFC can increase my earnings inside the organization, then I'll stay in the division. But if nothing happens, I'll be forced to move up. I'll stay in the flyweight division if they increase my purse." Also recently, he called the belt plastic. He said, "The champion has a name and it's Davison Figueiredo, God of War. I'll be attending that fight just to see that joke that they're making. This has got me a little upset with the UFC. As I've always given them a show in my fights. I've always given them good things, and now they're going to try to force me to fight Moreno, but there are other guys. It's like I've been saying, if they pay me well enough, I'll fight that jerk. It's not a problem. So he seems very upset. He did say, though, that he thinks that you're going to knock out Moreno. So that's his prediction. But how do you feel about him saying that, it's a joke, it's a plastic belt, all this stuff?
Bro, you missed your shot. Like, before the fight, you were saying, I don't want to fight Brandon because he's been racist, and then he's saying he's injured. When the offer comes to you, even if you're the champ, you have a little bit of, you do have a big say in the fight, but if you don't want to fight, like, the UFC aren't going to wait. That's just how the business is. If you're here to fight, then that's what they'll do. They'll match you up. So when after my last fight in Columbus, I was talking to Mick, and straight after the fight, pretty much, and I was saying, I'm ready to go again. What's happening? Is this 4th fight happening? And he said, yeah, we're just waiting on like that fight is the fight to make, but you're next in line. So when he said that, I was like, okay, cool. I'll wait until whenever that fight's going to happen, and I was expecting, later on in the year, if not at the end of the year. But when they realized, when they weren't going to take that fight, I'm ready to go whenever. This is how this fight game is. You just got to be ready to fight whenever. And if you're injured, then that gives you a little setback. You gotta take the risk for reward. And with Figueroa, saying all these things and not really committing, that just shows that he doesn't really want to fight, even though he's the champ. So, we can. I'm not looking too far ahead, but once I get past Brandon, we can unify this. We just had the big Kambosos fight in Marvel Stadium. It was awesome to see. I wasn't there, but I was watching a few teammates, and I'm watching that fight. It was awesome to see Marvel Stadium packed out again, in Melbourne, and we could unify the belt in Marvel Stadium end of this year, when he's healthy and feeling better. But yeah, like, the fight's going to happen eventually. We haven't fought each other yet, and this flyweight division is so small that we will cross paths sooner or later. If he doesn't go up to bantamweight. But bro, like, you missed your chance. Even though you're the champ, like, the division moves forward, and me and Brandon get to square off. And I thought Brandon won their last fight. So in my eyes, I am fighting the best guy. And then once I get past Brandon, then I can fight Figgy, and then I can shut him and his coach up. They talk a lot. Henry Cejudo's talking, and their coach Eric saying, bring Izzy in the corner when we beat you, because we want to get that one back. It's like, what's even that got to do with the fight? Like, what is that even? Like, I don't even understand why they even need to hold on to that, because I guess of the Paulo Costa thing, and with the backstory behind that and the bad blood. But that was a long time ago. So, bro, are you still thinking about that? There's bigger and better things to be worrying about. Like, Henry, stay retired. Eric, take those glasses off. and Figueroa, just keep that weight down, bro. If you want to come back to flyweight, it hurts you every time. You probably only have one or two more shots at flyweight before you're gonna really hurt yourself with these big weight cuts. So hopefully he doesn't blow up too much, and he keeps his weight down. So I'm looking forward to the future. A lot of exciting fights to be made in this flyweight division. But yeah, we've got business to take care of. July 30th, Dallas, Texas, the rematch. And I'm excited, and I can't wait to get in there and just walk down Brandon Moreno. I know he was sticking his tongue out last time we fought, and all the antics. But when he does that, I'll be in his face as well, and I'm not taking a back step.
I feel like Figueiredo's, anger is a little bit ill-advised, only because A, he was injured. B, he last fought in January. This isn't like a contract situation with Ngannou last summer where he wins the belt in March and then they make the fight 3 months later only because he had some issues and all that stuff. The dude is injured. And this is 6 months later. And honestly, like, you win, Brandon, like, a unification bout always makes it feel a little bit bigger, right? And if you guys fight later, it's like champion versus champion. I don't feel like he has much of a legit gripe here. It feels like this is actually better. And then you win, that's a fresh matchup for him. I think there was a little fatigue seeing those guys fight. But if Moreno wins, at least he fights someone else. And I just feel like this is kind of a win-win for the division and for him. So I'm not really sure why he's so upset. It seems a little bit misplaced, if you ask me.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. It's good for new people to be fighting for this belt and for the division and for the fight fans, giving them something new to think about and a different, different people in the trilogies and these rivalries. You can't just have the same guys fighting like 10 times. It gets boring and it gets old. And when we do unify the belt, it's going to make it even more exciting. And like I said, bring a fight night back to New Zealand or Australia. We really miss it, and it'd be awesome to bring it back home.
By the way, could you tell us what it is like at CKB right now? You have Izzy, I believe Alex is there, or was there, because I saw some photos of him. I know he was working the local broadcast of the Kambosos fight this weekend. And then you, like, 3 CKB guys, and I know Alex is also with Freestyle, but, you know, part of the team, part of the gym, fighting for a UFC belt, in your case 4-1, in their case defending, in the span of 28 days. What is it like at the gym right now? Not to mention the other dudes who are fighting as well, Riddell and all that stuff.
Yeah, it's an amazing atmosphere at the moment. It feels like pre-COVID when the world was back to normal. You could travel wherever you wanted. And it's contagious, you know. Everyone's just there, you know, turning up. It was awesome having Alex there for the week. This guy, he's probably got the strongest top pressure pound for pound, like, out of anyone in the gym. His pressure that he creates is crazy. Like, he'll literally, like, break your ribs from a squeeze.
Wow.
So it's pretty cool to have, you know, the featherweight champ, as one of your sparring partners, training partners, giving you the look, and he's pushing to defend his bout against Max. Obviously, Izzy's there, getting ready for his 5-rounder against Cannonier. When you have champions in your gym and such high caliber fighters and the standards so high, it only makes you kind of rise up to that. And having the rest of the boys getting ready, you know, Brad, Carlos, Bloods, it's just a great place to be. And then the rest of the guys that are getting ready, the local guys that are getting ready for their fights as well. So, you know, we've got about every week, Eugene's away in another country, getting cornering fighters and helping them get ready. So it's just, I think it's like that until August. There's someone fighting, and then obviously with Alex and Izzy defending their titles, and then me fighting for my first title. It's just the way it is in the gym. You know, there's always something next to look towards, and never really stops. You know, that's just the normal thing about this gym, where we fight. You know, that's what we do. That's what we love to do. And we just stay in the gym, and we know this is for a short period of time in our lives. So we just got to maximize it. And we're pretty privileged to be able to do it in our hometown, where other fighters have to travel to get this kind of training, and they have to travel to work for these world-class coaches, but we get to do it just down the road from our houses. So yeah, pretty lucky. When you're at sparring and stuff, man, there's no easy rounds at the gym. Like, everyone's pushing, everyone's fit, and everyone's just hungry. So that keeps me on my toes. I've got a lot of flyweights and bantamweights now in the gym, world-class guys that are giving me the right look that I need, you know, guys that are getting ready for the Commonwealth for wrestling. So getting that grappling look. A lot of high-level kickboxers that we're producing that are transitioning into MMA. So, they're giving me that technical push that I need in kickboxing, making me think. And then we have a lot of MMA fighters around my same weight, and it's just a little bit bigger, giving me, hard rounds that I need to go those 5 rounds. So I'll be more than ready. I can't wait. This morning, that's why we're doing this interview so early, because I've got hill sprint straight after this.
Yes,
at 9
yes.
of them for breakfast. Just another day for me. I think the countdown just got here as well, UFC countdown. So they'll be filming all our sessions. Later on today, I'll be in the pool with David Wood doing some breathing and CO2 tolerance, and then back in the gym tonight for wrestling. So, I've got so many weeks to prepare. We're already kind of, deep into our preparation. I can't wait for July 30th to kind of just come around the corner, because that's how it happens. You start your fight camp, and then before you know it, it's fight week. So
Right.
That's why you just got to stay training all year round, because that's where progression's made. It's not made in the 8 to 10 weeks, because that's just about preparation and preparing your body to go 5 rounds. Technically, you're not going to get too much better. You're just sharpening things that you're already kind of good at, and getting as fit as you can. But the actual upskilling is happening in between all that, when you're outside of your camps, and when you have guys that are turning up, yearly, not really taking breaks either. You're already kind of taking away the distance between your peers is just going to get bigger and bigger, the gap between them, because you're putting in so many more reps and so many more hours in the gym. So I'm only 29, but I can see myself holding this belt for a very long time.
One last quick thing to ask you about, because I know you have to run literally to run up hills and stuff. Crazy that early in the morning. Your guys are going to fight in Vegas earlier in the month. Are you going to go there as well, and then just stay in America to get used to the time zone, or will you go over afterwards?
It's something that we're thinking about, but as of now, I'm probably not going to go. I'm probably just going to stay and keep my head down and just keep working, and then I'll go maybe two weeks before the fight to Dallas, just to get kind of adjusted. But yeah, that's the thing about having those mid camp trips, is kind of disrupting. So
yeah,
I'd probably just rather keep my head down and just work hard and support the boys back home. But yeah, that's just what you got to do. You've got to prioritize what's best for you and how you're going to put your best foot forward. So I'd rather just stay put and just work, just grind. Even though there'll be about 3 or 4 of the boys fighting the week before and fight international fight week. We've got so many guys getting ready for their fights coming up. So I'll have more than enough training partners and support back home just to do what we're doing. So yeah, I'll probably just do that.
But Eugene will be in your corner.
Yeah.
Okay, wow.
He'll just be there for the week.
Okay.
The week and then come back. That's what he does. He's in another country every weekend.
Crazy.
And he's back to training on Monday morning. So yeah, that's.
Well, I see him
that's
taking
his life.
pictures now with people. I think I saw it on Ash's story, or someone was there with him in Australia, where he's got like a bunch of fans coming up to him. So it's all working out, but he doesn't have social media, which is very good as well. I respect that greatly from Eugene. Yeah. Thank you so much for doing this so early. I always feel bad when I ask you guys to come on early, but you're always so gracious. You're always so, accessible to us, and we really, really appreciate it. So good luck in training, my friend. All the best. I'm sorry again to hear about your uncle, but obviously wish you the best in training camp, and very happy that you're getting this opportunity. And we may talk before the fight, but good luck in training camp, and looking forward to the 30th of July.
Thank you, Ariel. Always appreciate your time. And yeah, can't wait. Let's
All right.
get it.
We'll talk to you soon. There he is, Kaikar France. Thank you so much to him. Waking up so early over there in New Zealand. UFC 277 coming up July 30th. 2 pay-per-views in July. You've got the International Fight Week one. That's UFC 276. 2 CKB guys on that card. Volkanovski going up against Holloway for the 3rd time. And then Israel Adesanya going up against Jared Cannonier. And you know what's the best part about July? 1 Apex show. How about that? July 2nd, T-Mobile, or mobile, whatever, tomato. July 9th, Apex. July 16th, Long Island. First report over here in UBS Arena. July 23rd, 02. July 30th, Dallas. That's nice. It's been a while since we had that. Obviously, the gold, no more apex. I mean, I just can't give it up for Alexander Volkov. Yeah. Oh, like Felice Herrig. Felice Herrig, great run, great career, retires. Give it up for Felice Herrig. There's 4 people there. What's going on? There's literally 4 people there, 4 fans there. I do have to say, though, and we're going to be joined by Brandon Moreno, so this is fun, the 2 guys fighting each other. In another time, we'd have had them on at the same time, but, we've grown up around these parts. Paul Felder doing so well on the broadcast. The Alonzo Menefield fight, the Felice Herrig fight. One thing that drives me nuts, watching these post-fight interviews, watching any post-game interview in any sport, whether it's basketball, football, fighting, boxing, MMA, I often find that the person asking the questions already has the questions set or just draws upon like the same old list of questions and isn't asking anything pertinent to what just happened, isn't asking them about, like, they'll ask, someone will just have a big win and they'll ask about the making of the fight or how they felt going into the fight. Like, no, we need to ask them about right now. How are you feeling right now about what just happened? And then what often happens is no follow-up question to what they just said. Felder did it a bunch of times. He doesn't always get to do the post-fight. He did it a bunch of times on Saturday. He's turned into one of the very best in MMA and in combat sports. Listen next time he does the broadcast and then does the post-fight interviews. He's asking proper follow-ups. He's asking about things that are just about, what happened in the cage, not what happened last week or last month. Pertinent, timely questions, listening, following up, not a long question, just giving them the opportunity to speak. Fantastic. Well done. Great stuff. All right, so we just got the Kai Kara-France side of the story. Now let's get the Brandon Moreno side of the story. He meets Kai Kara-France on July 30th in Dallas for the interim flyweight title. He joins us right now via the Magic Zoom. There he is. Hola, Brandon.
Man.
¿Cómo estás?
Muy bien, muchas gracias.
Everything good?
How you been, man?
I've been great.
Everything is perfect, man.
We just spoke to your opponent, Kai Kara-France, and now we're speaking to you, so this is a nice treat. Thank you for doing the show as always.
Nice.
Good to talk to you.
Man, actually, that sounds very neutral. Thank you so much.
Of course. We like both of you very much, and this is a very interesting fight, a rematch. Could I ask you, what was your reaction? Because we had been hearing that it was going to be the 4th fight between you and Deiveson Figueiredo, and then you find out, no, it's going to be Kai Kara-France for an interim title in July. What was your reaction when you got this news?
Man, so that was the plan, man. That was the original plan. Everybody wanted that fight, like UFC, all the company. I wanted that fight, obviously, but everybody except Figueiredo, right? Like he wanted like more. I don't know what he wanted, to be honest, but he said no, and I felt a little bit frustrated because, I mean, I'm lying to you if I'm saying I'm not here for money, because I love money too. I love to buy stupid things.
Yes.
But I don't know. Imagine the legacy, right? The 4 fight against somebody, the first one in the mixed martial arts history. That sounds amazing. Obviously, I'm crossing the fingers to watch him again in the future. But I don't know. I don't care, man. I'm so focused in Kai Kara-France right now.
So, and would it be fair to say initially you were a little bit disappointed, you were bummed, and then you had to get over it?
I mean, nothing serious. Just like, come on, I want to fight against this guy, right? Because this history is like so different than the other ones. Like the first one was a draw. I beat him like terrible in the second one. Fucking judges in the third one stole my belt. But I thought the 4th fight against him will be a very interesting match, right? But it is what it is. I don't care. I'm just really focused in my next fight against Kara-France.
Just one more thing about him. Do you feel like it's more about the injury or more about the money that he's not fighting you next?
You have a really good question. I don't know, man. I don't know what he's thinking right now. I don't know. It's like really for the money, or he's like a kind of a scare. I don't want to say he's a scare. It's like too much trash talk. I'm sick of the trash talk with this guy. I'm done with that. But I don't know, man. He doesn't want to fight, and that's it. Hopefully, I mean, again, I know I have an important matchup against Carfrance, but hopefully, I can see him again at before to the end of the year. He's saying like a lot of different crazy stuff, like, "Oh, I want more money, and if UFC don't give me more money, I want to go to the bantamweight." Like, anybody cares, man. Anybody cares that. I mean, it's not like he's moving to the 135 and UFC is like, okay, he moved to the 135. Okay, I'm gonna give you more money now. So I don't know.
Doesn't make a lot of sense. That's right. He also referred to the belt as a plastic belt, and that he's the champion. He seems very upset about this fight being made. What do you make of these comments? Did you hear his comments?
Man, you know what? Maybe it's a plastic belt, but it's still beautiful. It's still very beautiful. So I want to fight for like Lego belt, plastic belt, whoever. I don't care.
Yeah, any kind of belt is good for. A Lego belt would be sweet.
Imagine that, man. We need to work on that. I need to talk with my bosses.
So for you, as someone who has held the belt before, Kai hasn't held the UFC title before, never fought for a UFC title. You have. What do you think it will feel like when, the fight comes, let's say you win, interim belt? Will you feel like champion, or do you think you'll only feel like champion if you get the opportunity to beat Davis and Figueiredo?
I think it's a weird situation for me, because I'm trying to be focused on like be very positive and say like, hey, last fight that I won last fight. I don't care. But at the same time, I'm trying to be very humble and say like, hey, I'm fighting for the title again. I want to hear a new again. And obviously inside of me, I feel like the champion. I feel like a champion. But I mean, I focus on Carfrance. I respect this new challenge, and I just want to hear a new again, feel the belt around my waist or my shoulder, wherever, and that's it. Obviously, for Carfrance, it's a new experience. I promise everything changed when you fight for a title. Just the fact to fight for a title, everything changed. So. I don't know. I feel like for this fight I have the experience, but at the end of the day, when you are inside of the octagon, everything changed, right? I mean, a lot of people ask me, for example, like, "Hey, you have more experience, and you fought in a 5 rounds a matchup before, and he never did that." Like, yeah, maybe, but I saw a lot of fighters before, like going to the first fight in 5 rounds, like with a lot of cardio and looking amazing. Like, I remember the fight between Chito Vera and Rod Font. I mean, the guy was the first main event, and he looks impressive, right? So I'm just trying to do my own job, and if the guy gets tired in the 4 or 5 round, it's awesome for me.
Do you miss being champion?
Of course. You know what? When it's funny, because when I'm in the broadcast in Spanish, for example, and my partner introduced me like, "Oh, we are here with the former UFC champion."
Yeah.
When he say former, he's like, "I want to kill you, man." But no, man. Obviously, I miss the feeling to just be the best, and like with any single comment about it, like, you are the best and you are the champion. A lot of people say like, "Hey, man, you won the fight and you're still the champion. No problem with that. Just relax with that, and it's fine." I just miss that little feeling like I'm the champion, and that's it. But man, I'm still very positive, and I feel in my prime right now.
It's funny you say that. When I used to work on the desk, I remember one time Tyron Woodley, after he lost the belt, he got mad at, I won't say who, but he's like, "Stop calling me former. I'm champ, or don't say anything, but I don't want to hear former champion anymore." So and he was being serious. So what you just said reminded me of Woodley.
man, I understand the feeling. I understand the feeling, but at the same time, I accept my mistake. Like, man, you deserve that because you fucking lost. All right. So I like shut up and keep going with my job.
You watched that fight from January a lot?
Yeah. I mean, I'm trying to fix all my mistakes. I saw that fight like fucking 10 times. And I can see what happened with me. And I think, you know what? My biggest mistake in that fight was like, I hear all those voices around me like, hey, be careful with Figueiredo because he looks better and he changed all the style and he went to fight red in Arizona, so he has new tricks. So be careful. I start to hear all those voices like, and I was very, very careful in that fight. If I put all my performance like in the second fight with a lot of pressure, with no respect, I know I could be a different history, but man, again, it is what it is. Right now, I'm so focused to fix all my mistakes, and man, right now I feel like I'm evolving my game right now.
So right now, are you in Kansas City right now?
Yeah, I'm here in Kansas City. It's hot and it's humid, but everything is so green and I love it.
So why did you decide to go there? You're now working with James Krause and those guys over there who are doing. We had your teammate Jeff Molina on earlier. It's one of the best gyms. He's turned into one of the best coaches. But why did you decide to make this move?
So it's funny because after the last fight against Figueiredo, I tried to do something different. I mean, before one of the key of my success was like I went to a lot of different gyms. Actually, I know you don't remember, but I met you like 2014 in Albuquerque, New Mexico, in Jackson. You had an interview there. So, but man, the point is, I went to Albuquerque, New Mexico, in Jackson. I went to Denver, Colorado, to Arizona, to California, a lot of different places to learn. Always trying to get new knowledge, right? In some point in my life, I stopped to do it because I feel very comfortable. Like I was working so hard, everything was like perfect, winning fights and getting the title. But man, I felt after this last fight, like I stopped to evolve, and I don't like that feeling, man. So I decided to move. I decided to move to Kansas. I meet James in 2019. I had a little conversation with him, and I love his mentality, and he's a nerd. He's an obsessive guy, and again, like a part of the broadcast, I can see him in the corner, like being very like passionate, like, hey, let's go, man, and put in the game plan and everything. I love the relation with their fighters. So that's why I decided to move to Kansas because James, I think he's the guy who's pushing me so hard right now.
Wow. And so do you have any of like the coaches that you had for the last fight in January? Will any of them be a part of this camp in July, this fight in July?
No, not right now. I mean, for example, right now I'm working with my Muay Thai coach. He's Pedro Joya. He helped me for the fight against Figueiredo in the last year when I won the title, but he had some personal problems and he don't have the opportunity to help me the last one. But now he's helping me again. My boxing coach in Tijuana is Drift Cortez. He has some problems with his visa, so he can't just come to the United States. So I needed to find another boxing coach, and I'm working with Jorge Capetillo. He's amazing. I met him in Las Vegas, and he has an amazing technique too. He's helping me, and he's like 100% with me. Like he believes in this project, and he believes in me. And right now, he's part of my team. Hector Vasquez, he's my jiu-jitsu coach now. He's in Las Vegas too. And James Krause is the head coach. I'm working a little bit with the other coaches here in Kansas City in Glory. So right now, that's part of my team. Capetillo, Hector, he's traveling like every single few times per month. They're coming here to Kansas to keep working with me.
Okay. And I know you have a young family. Are they with you as well in Kansas City?
So I came like 4 weeks ago. I came here alone with my training partners to Kansas. I was training. Then last week I went to Las Vegas, to get some recovery. I tried to separate my seasons of training Like I had 3 weeks very, very hard in Kansas. Then I went to Vegas to get some recovery in the Performance Institute. And then I came here again. So right now I'm here with my family. They will be here like 1 or 2 weeks, and then they'll go back to Vegas, and I'll be alone again with my training partners.
Okay, so you think this will be your home for a bit? Are you happy with the move?
Man, I'm so happy with the movement. I feel very, very positive. And you know what I love the most? I mean, everybody's like believe in this. Like they really believe I can get that title back. And they believe in my last performances. They are helping me to fix all my mistakes. And man, I love that. I love that feeling, like to have people around me who like feel the same passion than me.
So you have a win over Kai Kara-France about 3 years ago. What do you make of his progression over the last 3 years? Do you think he has evolved a lot? Are you impressed with his progression and evolution as a fighter?
Man, yes, of course. And, you know, I mean, I have a lot of respect for Corey Garbrandt or Askar Askarov, but they make a huge mistake. Don't put in respect on Kai Kara-France. He's dangerous, man. He's very dangerous, and I need to be careful with him. Obviously, in the positive way. You understand? Like, I mean, I need to respect him, and that's it. I beat him in 2019, and since that fight, he looks better, man. Definitely, he looks better. And you know what? He looks with better confidence. Like when he go to the fight, he looks like better expression, like ready to go with the other opponent. So yeah, man, I think the biggest weapons he improved in the past was his confidence. So I need to be careful in that. But saying that, like, man, I'm ready. I'm ready to fight against Kai Kara-France again. I beat him again.
A lot of people didn't think he would beat Askarov because he's so tough. He was a big underdog. Were you surprised that he beat Askarov back in March?
Man, yes, of course, because he was able to defend the takedown, keep the distance, and start to put pressure on Askar Askarov. That's an amazing game plan. Like, I love it, that. And I know Askar Askarov, he gets a little bit frustrated with his stop to get the rhythm of the fight and the timing of the takedown. So he started to frustrate Askar Askarov and start to put the hands on him. So man, that was an amazing matchup. So I've been watching with James a lot of fights of Kai, and I can see what kind of holes I can take advantage of on our next fight.
By the way, your work as an analyst for the Spanish broadcast, do you think that has made you into a better fighter because you're almost forced to analyze so many different fighters, styles? Do you think that there's a correlation between your work on television and your work in the gym?
Man, 100%. I mean, just in general, I'm a huge MMA fan. I love to watch fights. I love to go every weekend. If I'm not in the broadcast, I love to watch the fight in my house with my family or my training partners, whatever. But yes, be there in the broadcast, start to watch different styles of different fighters. It helped me to my fight IQ. A lot of fighters don't understand the importance to be smart in the middle of the fight. I mean, I'm not saying I'm the smartest guy in the octagon. Sometimes if it's time to smash, it's time to smash, and that's it. But if in some point I can do a smart trick there, like, why not?
Did you think that when it was clear that Figueiredo was out, did you think that they would go with Pantoja and not Kara-France? Pantoja seems upset that they went with Kai Kara-France and not him. What did you think? Man,
it's funny. They trying to say it's my fault, but man, they need to understand I'm not taking the decisions here, man. I promise, man. I want to be the boss one day, but I'm not the boss right now, man. And I understand Pantoja was upset with this or other fighters, but man, put your manager to work, and that's it, man. I mean, that's why I love my Jason. I love my Iridium team, because they are doing the job for me, and I'm just focused to do my job. What is the training?
Which would you have preferred, Kai Kara-France or Pantoja?
Man, both guys, man. I mean, actually, I remember last year I was in the broadcast. They film everything, like Pantoja beat Roy, but I remember, yes. And he challenged me like, hey, I want to fight with you. Like, man, let's go. But then he got the injury. So he was out of the fight. And that's why Figueiredo came for the trilogy. Like, man, the people, they need to understand I don't care.
Okay.
I mean, maybe because, maybe the people say like, oh, he's scared of Pantoja or whatever because he lost before. Like, man, I don't care, man. I don't give a fuck. I mean, that guy who fought against him in 2018 is so different. And, man, you need to watch my last fights to make sure of that, right? So, man, Kai France obviously so interesting for me because I beat him before. But, man, it's a new challenge and he's very tough. So, man, I'm ready for both guys. If they want to put Kai France and then put Pantoja in the same night, like just give me a little time, let me some rest, I can drink water, and then I can fight with the other guy next time.
I like that they're putting you back in a market with a lot of Hispanic fans, right? First you fought in California, Arizona, now Texas. You think you'll have you think you'll be the fan favorite in this fight?
Man, Dallas is crazy. I mean, last year or this when this year started, I went to Houston and I had a meet and greet there, man. Man, it was crazy.
Really nice.
A lot of people. The line, man. The line was around the corner, around the man. Was crazy. So I'm expecting a huge fan base in Dallas. Obviously, when you are going to the fight, like you are so focused, but man, you can hear all the crowd screaming your name, and I'm excited again. I'm so grateful with the company, with the UFC, because they're putting me in places where I can put my work with my fans.
Just a couple more things and I'll let you go. What happened to your guy, Canelo? What happened?
Man, what happened? Tell me what happened. You're the analyst.
He went up too much weight.
Man, of course, but he's getting the challenger, right?
Yeah.
The guy, for me, he's the best. He's still the best. He's just trying to get new challenge, and so in some point Bivol, he looks huge. I mean, I was watching the highlights and all the repetition, and man, Bivol, he looks definitely in another weight class. So man, he tried it. He don't got the W, but he tried at least. So man, you can't say the same for other fighters or other boxers. So no. Man, I still have all the respect for Canelo, man.
I agree. Yeah, no, very few boxers are doing what he's doing. He's looking for the biggest challenges, regardless of weight class. Any new great Legos that we got recently? Anything to share? Any Funkos? Anything?
Man, you know what? I'm here in Kansas, and I can't show you all my collection, but I have the Daily Bugle for Spider-Man.
Oh, huge. Cool! Wow.
It's like 5,000 pieces or 4,000 pieces. I don't remember, but man, that one is awesome. I have the Batman tumbler, the from the Dark Knights.
Yeah,
it's crazy too. And right now I'm building a little Lego cars because I don't have too much time. I need to go train, I want to finish my sets. So I'm collecting a few ones.
By the way, do you follow Jan Blachowicz on Instagram? Someone made Jan out of Lego. Did you see that?
I want my own Lego monument, man.
Yeah.
I'm jealous of Jan Blachowicz.
Yeah, that was incredible. You saw this picture?
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Actually, I post something with him like, hey, man, awesome. That's great. That's crazy, man.
Amazing. One last thing. Let's say it all goes well for you July 30th. Will you be disappointed if Figueiredo leaves the division, that you don't get another crack? Will this bum you out?
Yes, man. I'll be disappointed because, again, imagine the legacy, man, the history. Wow. I mean, man, if Figueiredo is watching this or maybe can watch this in the future, man, just stop to say stupid things. Just wait for me and see you in the future, man. I mean, more than money, more than whatever, legacy, brother. We can make it together. He's my partner. He don't understand. He's my partner.
Business partner, fighting partner. So that's the message to him. No more stupid things. Be patient, and you'll see him in the fall.
Yes, sir.
Brandon, Well done. Thank you so much. Always a pleasure to talk to you. Happy to see that you're being treated well over there in Kansas City. Congrats on getting the fight and good luck in training camp. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, bro. Thank you so much. I'll be here training in Kansas.
And by the way, I remember meeting you. Okay, don't doubt me. I have a good memory.
Wow.
I think it was 2015. Is that possible? Is it possible?
No, 2014.
Okay, fine. 2014. You're right.
And I think you told me something like, because you was like talking with us, with all the Latin crew, and you say something to me like, so just keep working because maybe in the future we can work together. Like, okay.
And now
I'm here getting links for Zoom in WhatsApp, so it's perfect.
Hey, not only that, now I have to ask like 10 times for you to come on. You're a hard guy to get, so I'm very appreciative. Thank you, Brandon, for always coming on.
Awesome, bro.
You're the man. Take care.
You, man.
All right, there he is, Brandon Moreno, the one-time, we'll say, UFC flyweight champ, not former. One time, and perhaps soon to be interim champion, and perhaps soon to be undisputed champ. I remember I was working with Woodley, and the host, I wasn't the host, said, former welterweight champion Tyron Woodley on the desk, and he was not happy about that. Like he wasn't a dick about it, but he was like, yo, no more former, all right? No more former. What's going on here with Ally Quinta? Oh, more open scoring. Quinta still wants to catch these L's, huh? What? Now Ben Rothwell. It's wrong. What is going on? All kinds of debate happening in my Twitter mentions here about open score. We're done with the open scoring thing, all right? I've said my piece. We're done with it. I'm moving on for now until the next time I have to talk about it, all right? Thank you, Frank. Appreciate it. Great conversations with a lot of young, inspiring fighters. Really enjoyed Jeff Molina. And I mean, how could you not feel good about life when you talk to Brandon? Could you imagine Brandon Moreno being mad about anything? The guy's just constantly smiling. It's unbelievable. He's just constantly in a great mood. Constantly, positive. Just, I can't even imagine him frowning, scowling. Pretty incredible. I'm looking forward to that fight. What's the lineup here? Let me see something. UFC 277, obviously the main event is Juliana Pena versus Amanda Nunes 2. Kai Kara France versus Brandon Moreno 2. Derek Lewis versus Sergey Pavlovich. And that's the pay-per-view fight back to Texas for Derek. Anthony Smith versus Magomed Ankalaev is going to be a really fun fight, I think. That's an important fight at light heavyweight. And then Drew Dober versus Rafael Alves. That's the main card. UFC 275 is this weekend, though. It's in Singapore at the Singapore Indoor Stadium. And that should be a fun one. Obviously, the main event is Glover Teixeira versus Yuri Prochaska, Valentina Shevchenko versus Tyler Santos, Zhang Wei Li versus Joanna Jacek. 3-round fight. Great fight. March 2020. Zhang Wan defended her title successfully. Rogerio Bontorin against Manel Cape, and Jack Della Maddalena against Ramazan Amiv. Jacob Malkoun against Brendan Allen. Anything? Andre Fialio back against Jake Matthews. And there's also the road to UFC Singapore at the same venue this weekend as well. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 fighters, 5 fights total. Actually, there's multiple episodes. I'm still kind of confused about this road to UFC thing, and I'm not even going to dare. It's a whole tournament: flyweight tournament bracket, bantamweight tournament bracket, featherweight tournament bracket, lightweight tournament bracket. A bunch of fighters from Asia. In fact, all of them are from Asia. I see South Korea. I see China. I see Japan. India, Indonesia, China. But I'm not going to dare actually pronounce any of these names because I don't want to butcher them. Thailand, the Philippines, all over. All right, we're going to talk 275. We're going to recap the weekend as far as the picks are concerned. talk about, H-Doubt getting back on track, talk about all that and more. Give GC his flowers or not with New York Rick in a second. But first, a quick word from our good friends over at DraftKings Sportsbook. As you know, UFC 275 this weekend, interesting card, 2 title fights. You got the great fight between Zhang Weili and Helwani and Jacek as well. Let's start. You're gonna clip this off, right, Frank?
I am now.
Well, I don't want to have the. Are you a big Pokemon fan?
No,
You don't want to catch them all?
not right now.
All right, let's start that over because I know you're going to play it. Then I'm going to slip up and it's going to be all weird. All right, here we go. UFC 275 is stacked. Step into the octagon with DraftKings Sportsbook, the official sports betting partner of the UFC. Knockout, submission, or even judge's decision, no matter who wins or how any of the fights end, new customers can bet just $5 on UFC 275 and get $150 in free bets instantly. Glover Teixeira, underdog in the title fight. First title defense as light heavyweight king going up against Yuri Prochaska. How about that? Valentina Shevchenko going up against the underdog Tyler Santos. Can Shevchenko slip on a banana peel? Joanna Zhang 2. It's all great stuff. It's all going down this Saturday. By the way, normal times in America, regular 10 p.m. Eastern main card. It's going to take place Sunday morning over there. Looking for a big payday? Check out DraftKings Sportsbook newest UFC feature. Same game parlays. Combine multiple bets like which fighter will win, number of knockouts, and more for your shot at an even bigger payout. Right now, you can place the same game parlay for Saturday night's big fight. And if it hits, you'll double your winnings. Double your winnings. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use promo code DMMAR. Throw down $5 on UFC 275 and get $150 in free bets instantly. That's code DMMAR this Saturday at DraftKings Sportsbook, the official sports betting partner of the Ultimate Fighting Championship. Minimum age and eligibility restrictions apply. See show notes for details. Now, why did we change the music, by the way?
We didn't. That was just the second verse.
No, it wasn't. It's just like old times. Me and New York Rick flying solo. Thanks for helping us out. Thanks for showing up. Appreciate it. Why is there so much tension? I feel like there's a lot of tension these days.
No,
Very mad at me all the time.
You prod and you prod and you prod and you prod, and then you're like, what did I do?
I mean, you've known me for 10 years. It's sort of my
No, I'm
thing.
not surprised by it.
Okay. Is there prodding? I mean, I feel like there's not a lot of prodding.
No.
A lot of props.
Incessant.
Really? By
Props
me?
For me? When?
Oh, yeah. Like, I don't give you props? I pretty much have... I mean, I've pretty much gone to bat for you every stage of my life. What are you talking about? Props where it counts. Okay, what would you prefer? Props on Twitter or props behind the scenes?
No, I don't want props on Twitter.
Okay, so there you go. What are you getting all sensitive about?
No.
You and Davis and Figueiredo need to go have a little pity party for yourselves.
I mean...
Come on, let it out.
Davison's kind of right.
What do you mean he's kind of right? How is he right? What is he so upset about? He's not being stripped.
No, so what's the point of the belt then?
I don't know, to make the unification bout even bigger.
Meh.
He's injured. This is not Cyril Gane versus Derek Lewis from last year. You remember that? Everyone was upset about that.
Yeah.
Francis won the belt in March as opposed to Davison winning the belt in January. Everything all right? Can you hear me or no?
What happened?
I don't know. You just stopped listening to me. Now I can't hear him.
Stand by.
Anyway.
We're good now.
All right. This is not Francis Ngannou last year. Francis won the belt in March. Figueiredo won the belt in January. So later. They announced that one in June. Yeah, so around the same time. But the turnaround was for like 2 months later. The guy needed some time off, all this stuff. And there was the contract issues that were at play. In this case, the guy won the fight in January. He's hurt. They're going to do a title fight. And it only makes his next fight bigger if he sticks around, because then it's a unification bout against the interim champion. It's the fourth fight against, Moreno, or it's a fresh matchup against Kai. Like, I don't really see. And then on top of it, to say, if you don't pay me more, I'm moving up. Why? Does moving up mean getting more pay? Like, that doesn't make sense. I mean, what are you talking about?
Look, he's just trying to flex. But you're making an argument that interim titles are
I'm in favor of interim titles.
I'm not.
You get more money. You think it waters things down?
Yeah, it's useless.
Also, ill-advised move on his part, or at least saying it. You drop the belt and go up to 35, way less perks as a non-champion at 35 than as a champion at 25. Way less. You don't get that main event money. You don't get that champion's money. You don't get all these things. What exactly are you threatening?
I think, and I'm trying to read the tea leaves here.
I speak for him, but it's tough.
I think he's one of the bigger fights at flyweight, right?
Right.
He's essentially saying, I will disappear that, right? Like, the rest of you can fight it out. I'm the biggest name. I'm going to escape the division, and you guys sort it out. You're not going to have as big fights at flyweight for the UFC. I think that's the thinking.
You agree with this?
Do I think it's
He doesn't have
ineffective.
The clout. He doesn't have the clout to pull this move.
I agree with that, but I also think he's right that the interim title is a plastic belt. He's not wrong on that.
I mean, obviously,
but I don't think that the posturing is very significant.
Yeah, I think it's going to be interesting. If Moreno wins and it's now champion versus champion, I think it makes the fight even bigger. And if Kai wins, especially if he knocks him out as he's predicting, I think it makes the fight bigger. I mean, I think there was a little bit of Moreno-Figueiredo fatigue 4 straight times, no?
I don't think that changes that. You either like that fight or don't.
You don't
I don't
like
think
it?
that adds anything.
Would you rather them just keep those guys on the sidelines?
Wait, why can't they just fight?
Oh, just make it into like a number 1 contender fight.
Yeah, it's a number 1 contender fight.
Okay.
That's what this is. This is a number 1 contender
But
fight.
guess what? It's even better for the fighters because now they get champion money. So who cares then?
Well, I mean, you're saying the belt is insignificant. You're echoing
which
what
belt?
he's saying, that it's a plastic belt.
Listen, anything that gets the fighters more money, I'm in favor of. And,
I'm not disagreeing there.
And it also, I think, elevates the stakes for his inevitable return if he does stick around on 125. It doesn't feel like the UFC is trying to screw him over by making this.
No.
I think that's the part that he's trying to, the picture that he's trying to paint. I just think that they probably needed a second title fight for that card because they don't feel like Amanda versus Juliana is big enough on its own, right? They're probably saying that. So a second title fight elevates it, and you don't love it for those reasons. But the byproduct of it all, which is Kai France gets paid as a champion, Brandon Moreno gets paid as a champion if they win, F it. Who cares? I mean, I used to be one of those people who would get all up in arms about the interim title, but then you start to understand what goes on behind the scenes when you're an interim champ, and I'm like, all right, cool.
Yeah, I agree with you. They're not trying to screw him over, which seems to be how he's taking it.
Yeah.
But I also agree with him that this is insignificant.
Yeah. I mean, it's a number 1 contender belt.
Yeah.
Big deal. Come back.
Let's do number 2
No, I don't like that. Number 2 contender belt feels like those 5-round non-main or co-main fights that they're doing here and there. Like, what was the one? Freaking RDA versus the one that we just saw. RDA versus, who was it? When Islam didn't want to take the fight.
Moicano?
Yes, Moicano. And Fiziev got COVID. Like, why was that a 5-round fight? There's no reason for that to be a 5-round fight. By the way, Fiziev versus RDA was a 5-round fight too, and that made no sense.
Yeah, it was 5.
Yeah, but that shouldn't have been a 5-round fight either. Like, there was no need for it.
I'm with you.
That feels like a number 2 contender belt. All right, let's put this past weekend to bed. Usually this is when GC comes on. We have a lot to say about this weekend. So I'm going to recap his winnings. We'll see how he did. Unfortunately, it wasn't the best weekend for old GC, who's probably on his 4th glass of wine at this point. He went 3-4 in terms of singles and 0-2 in terms of parlay. Probably good that he's not here today to talk about all this. A rare off week, if you will, for GC. 3-4, not horrible, but a rare off week for the guy. No, he even tweeted that he was watching the show. How nice. He was watching the show while having what appears to be... What is that? What do you guys see over there? I don't know. It looks like some sort of meat dish. Very nice. And then he responds to the tweet with, "I'm a fraud. I only had it on for 4 seconds it took to take this picture." I mean, come on. Where's the support? Let me pull up his picks here. So the picks were Michalidis and Fakhreddinov. Fight not going the distance. Johnny Munoz, money line. Damon Jackson, money line. Alex Da Silva, money line. Alonzo Menefield, inside the distance. That one hit. Movsar, money line. That one hit. Rosenstrike Volkov completes round 2. That one did not hit. So there you have it. And then the parlays, Menefield, Mozarov fight doesn't go the distance. And then Volkov, Rosenstrike completes round 1. That didn't hit as well. That was the second leg. So unfortunately, not a great weekend for him. He will be back, even though he won't be here with his picks. He will be back on Wednesday. I think he's going to submit a video of some kind, or at least the picks. I mean, we don't ask for much around here. And I told him, even if he wants to take the next 2 weeks off, God bless, he can very well do that. No problems at all. He did, however, hit on his French Open pick, so we should give him props for this. He was there, and I believe it was a future on one Rafael Nadal to win the French Open. Am I getting this right?
Yeah, 2 of them.
2 of them, yes. What did he get? He got the French Open future, and then what did he get? What was the second one?
The same.
What's the difference?
Twice. He bet it twice.
He did?
Yeah.
Because the odds changed?
No, the odds stayed the same. He bet 175 the first time, and then
wow, I never knew anyone did that. Just because he was so confident?
Yeah, he upped his stakes on it.
Wow. All right. Well,
yeah,
well done there.
Betting at 4 a.m. Nice one, Connor.
Was that it? Does it say 4 a.m.?
Yeah, it does.
Oh my God, Jesus! I mean, that is true degenerate activity. Oh yeah, I see it right here.
No, you know what that is? Wait. No. That's the time of the match. So that must be...
no.
Yeah, that must be...
I watched it yesterday. It was like at 11. Maybe that's the way...
Yeah, where maybe local, whatever that is, that's the time of the contest. He put a future down.
I like the story better that he did it at 4 a.m.
And then put another... Well, I mean, that's Joe's MO. But he...
What? Wow.
He put...
some real.
He put 175 on it. I'm not sure which order these came in, but he put 175 on it, and then he put 100 on it, both at plus 150, and hit. Congratulations! Look at that, 5.5 units to win 8.25.
Yeah, and I think I see it here. Yeah, 437.50 he won, and then 250 he won for the second one.
Exactly. Yeah.
Nailed it. What's more impressive, to say the units or to say? I guess the units, right?
I don't know. Do we have time for this?
I don't know. Why? Is that a complex question?
Units, Brian Tucker weighing in. It started at 9 a.m., so 4 a.m. there.
Right.
Units are... The reason Connor uses units in these bets, and a lot of cappers talk about their bets in units, is because not everybody's bankroll is the same, right?
Right.
Bill Gates doesn't have the same bankroll as me. But if we scale them up or down, we can say you can still get a sense of how confident somebody is, right? If it's half a unit, not as confident. If it's 3 units, super confident. So if my unit is $10,000, but somebody else's unit is $10, you can still get kind of a representative sense and sample of how confident you are and bet that. So in this case, Connor's, what is that, 275? So I don't feel like doing the math. But yes, essentially, in this case, 275 equals 5.5 units for Connor. And then you can divide that.
Well, a very rare off week for him. But Frank, we do have some breaking news. Thank you. Thank you very much. We're back on track, baby. We're back on track, Frankie. Woo! Everyone was saying... We're Helwani Dog of the Week, back on track. That is, yes, we went 1 for 1, so it wasn't an undefeated weekend.
Time out. First of all, that's not what 1 for 1 means. Second,
we
went
of all, 1 and 1.
Second of all, you lost the 1 underdog of the week.
No, Jairzinho was robbed. Early stoppage.
Robbed. Wait a minute.
Was he not robbed?
Robbed?
Early stoppage. Was he not robbed of a victory?
Yikes.
You thought it was a good stoppage?
Yeah.
The guy was up and at him. Sure, he lost his mouthpiece. Sure, he wasn't really defending himself. He was running away, but he was in there. I mean, he just wanted to feel the heat a little bit. He just wanted to get that leather on.
He did say after the fight in his statement on Twitter, I didn't see anybody like on the floor unconscious. So that's what he wanted, I guess. But I was fine with the stoppage. I will say Herb Dean continues to be a little bit like wishy-washy on it.
Like, unsure of himself.
I think if he was in there quicker, and more forcefully, I don't think we'd be having much of a debate, to be completely honest with you. It was a fine stoppage. That was not getting better. Volkov
I was upset.
teeing off on him. And so you lost that.
We were riding with Biggie Boy. I feel like that should be like, I don't know. I feel like it should be nullified. I think it should be a watch. But then
This is so pathetic.
most people would say, all right, I need to take a break from all this. It's like we started off 7-0, we were killing it, and then it's just been, one loss after the next. But then we went back and he said, you know what, Devin Haney, enemy territory, no one's picking him, going to the distance. I look at the odds plus 110, 40,000 all against
odds were
them.
plus 110 on what?
On him going the distance. That's an underdog pick. You're saying this is not valid. You're saying this doesn't count?
Of course it doesn't count.
How does it not count? Is that not an underdog pick?
It is not.
What
He's a favorite in the fight. How is it an underdog pick?
The prop.
If you are you got it at plus money.
Yeah.
We
That's
can
underdog.
If you want to do a rebranding experiment, we can call it Helwani's plus money pick of the week.
That's
But
always
that was
what
not
it's
an
been.
underdog.
That's always what it's been.
That is not an underdog. If John Jones is a minus 500 favorite over Thiago Santos, and you pick John Jones by TKO at plus 120, that doesn't all of a sudden become an underdog.
Wow.
It doesn't Helwani's underdog of the week actually have to be an underdog. Devin Haney was a favorite in that fight. Can't be an underdog. Doesn't make sense.
But the pick was an underdog pick.
Underdog to who? Like you have to be an underdog to
the
someone,
world.
Right? There's a favorite.
I
and
looked
there's an
up. It
underdog.
said plus 110.
Helwani's plus money pick of the week.
Wow. I feel blindsided by this because last week when I mentioned it, no one said this. You're saying this is not counting.
Who's no one said that?
The internet.
I said it.
I'm pretty sure Connor didn't say that it was
Just throw him under the bus.
invalid.
Yeah.
No. He had my back. Did he not?
Connor must be getting soft. I mean,
Wow.
the team to France and just
Can you
get
call him up
soft.
right now? Can someone call him up and can we get an official rule? This is crazy.
Get an official ruling because.
So you're saying this doesn't count?
What would it count for? Listen, you're 1-0 on Helwani's plus money pick of the week. It's tremendous. I'm proud of you. Congratulations for getting back on track.
I get no love for that pick.
Underdog of the week is
Guy
a
goes to
loser.
Australia, enemy territory.
No.
Historically, they screw over the American over there or
This
the
is
foreigner.
two separate conversations. Will I give you credit for picking Haney by decision? I will.
Thank you.
It's a decent bet. I think at plus money that's a really good one. It's just not an underdog pick of the week. I'm sorry. That's unfortunate for you, but
I tweeted it at 9:44 p.m. Official HDAO : Haney via decision plus 110.
you can't just. I mean, sure, you can just pretend that it is.
Okay. By the way, the comments Haney by KO, Haney by decision is literally the most favorite account. Even if it's plus money, this ain't no dog. Who's this?
Yes, that's right.
Okay,
Whoever
wait.
that is. Read that person's name because
MMA Oz NZ. Okay, wait a second.
Yep.
Then someone writes, Tiki Taka Legend writes, he's fighting in Australia. All right.
What does that have to do with it? Oh, they're saying
because you're
the
getting
judging,
screwed.
you're
Yeah.
getting screwed.
That's why it was such a big deal.
Huge deal. Congratulations.
Haney
Not
by
an
TKO plus. Okay, so if I would have bet Haney via TKO plus 800, would that have been something?
It would have been a great bet. And if it happened, it would have been a great bet. I would have been very proud of you. And I'm still very proud of you. But your underdog pick lost at UFC.
Nah, you're wrong, boss. Kambosos. And then I went back and liked some of those tweets after. That's the best. And then the guy wrote, fair play. You are right, boss, as always.
I like that this guy just keeps calling you boss. That is a good line. Good call, buddy.
And he stops him at 10.
See, this I don't
The
get.
disrespect George gets is absurd. Okay. Kambosos by robbery. Great, you just jinxed it.
When has Haney been like a finisher? These guys like saying like Haney's gonna TKO him. I'm not sure where that came from. This was the play, and I like that you tried to sneak it in as an underdog. But
wow,
good for.
Honestly, I'm a little speechless right now. I feel blindsided by this. Now we have Jed chiming in.
What do you say?
New York Rick is correct. Not a traditional underdog. Can I get some backing here, Frank? This is typically where Connor has my back, and I feel like you're leaving me on an island here.
I think logically Eric is right. Yeah.
Why? It's an underdog pick. I can't believe this. Here, by the way, here I thought that I was back, and maybe this is all I need to really get back on track. And now I feel like it's being taken away from me. I feel like someone who just won a big fight, and USADA is coming in and stripping me of this glory.
I wish I could take back the breaking news.
Wow. This is crazy. I feel like
How about
I've
this?
just been hit with a gut punch.
You want to bring this thing full circle?
Please. Well, I'm
just
hesitant.
won Helwani's interim underdog pick of
Wow.
the week. You're back on track with the interim underdog pick of the week.
Why
This ain't
interim?
the real one. Because this ain't the real thing. Unfortunately, this ain't it. This ain't the real one. You like the plastic title.
Wow.
It's all yours. It's all yours.
All right, we'll get
Helwani
back on track with
interim
Glover this week.
dog of the week. Ooh, what's that?
That's a plus 165 right there. Glover is going to
Okay, now
wrestle
we're
him to
talking.
death. Might even get back on track with plus 140 Joanna.
I got to tell you, both of those don't sound too bad to me.
Let's see what else.
I was pretty sure. I was pretty confident on Yuri a few months ago, but in the
I don't
time
know.
since, I've come around on it, and I don't hate that pick. I don't hate that pick. I think it's going to be hell for the first 3 minutes if Glover can't get Yuri down. But what we've seen from Glover is that he's able to really take those shots. Now, there will be a point. This man is he 42, 43? How old is Glover?
Glover is 42, I believe.
So
Right now.
he's 42 years old. There will be a point where he's not able to take these shots. In his last couple of fights, he's able to take like Thiago Santos's punches like it's nothing. There will be a point where that doesn't happen anymore. But I could see a world where Yuri cracks him and he's still able to get the takedown. I could also see a world where it's finally time and the chin is gone and Yuri's able to take him out. But if he can survive an early onslaught, I think one takedown is all it's going to take.
Here's the thing. Yuri is very strong. He's
super
very reckless as
Yeah.
a striker. I mean, very reckless.
I think that works in his favor a lot of times.
Sure, but at some point you're going to reach, like if he would have fought John Jones when John Jones was, John would have ate him up on the feet.
Yeah, I mean, well, John Jones is the best fighter of all time, so.
Yeah, I'm just saying that's only going to work for so long, and against a certain kind of opponent. We haven't really seen him tested on the ground. We saw him against King Mo back in the day, way back in the day.
Yeah, and that wasn't pretty.
Yes, but can I also just say one thing that concerns me about Yuri? One fight since July 2020. One fight. Like the guy hasn't fought a lot. His last fight was May of 21.
I rate that win over Dominic Reyes pretty highly.
It was a tremendous win. Tremendous finish too.
I thought he showed some things in there that would make me believe. But the further we get from that fight, the more I start to think if Glover can survive the onslaught, he really has a very, very clear path to victory. Do you even think that he could take him out on the feet?
Glover?
Because you're pointing to the recklessness. Are you saying it's possible?
No, I don't think so. I think the recklessness will leave him open to takedowns, and then he could potentially do work on the ground.
Yeah,
potentially. Now, this is not an official pick just yet. I'm honestly, I'm still kind of getting over the shock of, and I'm gonna lean on GC for this one. If GC says it counts, it counts. All right, this is his segment. I mean, I just think it's only fair. Can we put up a poll? Do we have a poll? I want to pull. I'm going to
poll.
How do I do a poll on TweetDeck? You know they're getting rid of the TweetDeck
for desktop.
Yeah, what's up with that?
I don't like it. As a social media manager, I don't like.
Why are they doing this?
Much. Just they don't want to staff it and keep the technology updated. It happens. They sunset things all the time, but
you know what was the biggest fail sunset of all time? Getting rid of Vine.
Why?
Because I feel like TikTok, they just came in and took the idea.
No, different. To an extent, yes, I think they've captured some of the virality, but no, I mean, completely different platform-wise.
Virality. I haven't heard that one before.
I think you just love you some Logan Paul and Jake Paul. I just wanted to keep watching their vines.
So I'm putting up this poll right now. I mean, usually there's like Lebitard has Guillermo. I got to do it myself. It's just kind of the state of things. Does my Haney plus 110 decision H-Dow pick count? Is that fair?
No. You have to be more
H-Dow.
You have to explain that. Like,
I don't have time for a whole dissertation here.
Haney by decision an underdog pick.
No, does it count?
Nobody's going to know what H-Dow means.
What are you trying to say? No one watches this show?
Nobody's going to know what H-Dow means.
Well, then too bad for you. I'm putting it up. They'll know. Those who need to know, know.
I mean, look.
All right, here it is.
Let it be what it is. You can, again, enjoy your interim title. Enjoy the plastic belt. It's all yours. You've earned it.
Listen, if you're riding with me, at the end of the day, here's the thing. People who are riding and dying with me, they'll say, you know what? Thank you for that. Thank you for that pick. We don't care. It was plus money.
You know what?
We win.
You're right to an extent there.
We don't care. H-Dow or not, underdog or not, some
Now you're
fakakta reason that you guys are coming up with.
This is the same with the interim title. You are cheapening what it really means. The underdog pick of the week should be prestigious. Should be an underdog pick.
We'll let the votes, tabulate and return to this in a moment. Bigger chance. Who has a bigger chance of? Yes.
Before we go off Glover and Yuri.
Yeah, I'm asking you about them.
You mentioned John Jones.
What's up?
I mean, he's getting in training with John Jones. Like, if I think they probably
Yuri?
Yeah, cross paths, didn't they? I think did they take
for a
pictures together?
second?
For a second. But look, I mean, there's worse. If you're worried about Yuri's defensive wrestling, there's worse places to be than with Henry Cejudo and John Jones, right? If anybody can get him into shape. Now, it's funny. I was listening to the Bill Simmons podcast.
Oh yeah, shout out.
And they were talking about Ryan Russillo was talking about how corny it's always been that like the NBA players they'd be like he spent the weekend with learning post moves from Hakeem Olajuwon.
Yes.
Like how that never translates to anything. That could be a little bit of Yuri. He spent the weekend with John Jones and Henry.
Oh, you know what's the worst one of that? The worst one in the history of MMA? It's when guys would spend a weekend or a day or two at Wildcard with Freddie Roach. Yes. And then we would hear about it for months. He's been boxing with Freddie Roach. Like, golly. He literally, and I don't even know if Freddie Roach was in the building when he was there.
It was at Wildcard. He was just at Wildcard.
It was some random ring in the middle. No, he's been boxing with Freddie Roach. Remember that?
Yep.
Arlovsky boxing with Freddie Roach. Oh my God, it was so nice. Poor Faraz Zahabi. GSP used to get asked more about Freddie Roach than his actual work with Faraz back in the day.
Look, Freddie has the name. He's a legend. We're not gonna, we're not gonna take anything away from Freddie. But yes, you're right. That is one of the MMA's best examples of that. You show up for a session in the ring at Wildcard, and all of a sudden you're about to be
a Wildcard guy. You're boxing with Freddie Roach. The question I was going to ask you is champion. And we could talk more about 275 on Wednesday, but champion that has a bigger chance of being dethroned on Saturday. Glover or Valentina?
I mean, come on, gotta be Glover. Stop.
Does Tyler have any chance?
I think Tyler has a chance. I just don't think. I mean,
plus 450.
Glover's much more vulnerable here. There's nothing that made me believe that Valentina Shevchenko is going to lose this fight, but I think Tyler is a very good fighter. I think this will be one of the better opponents she's faced in this division. That's for sure.
Which dog you like better?
Out of who?
Glover plus 165, Joanna plus 140. Doozy.
Probably. God.
It's a doozy.
Joanna's been off for so long.
Yeah.
That makes me hesitant. If Joanna had been active, I would probably like Joanna better there. But I've been I'm telling you, the further we get from that Reyes fight, the more I think Glover, or the more I lean toward Glover. Joanna's but you know what? Joanna's not one to not put in the time in the gym. But I think both of those are live. If you're looking for some dogs, there's some on this card. That's for sure. Some real underdogs.
Right. Well, should I weigh in? Let's let it
give it some time.
Tabulate a little bit. Let's put Saturday to bed.
Sure.
And this weekend, Bo Nickal, tremendous. Do you agree with me that people, like if I'm Coker, if I'm Peter Murray of PFL, if I'm freaking Sean Shelby, that's his weight class, 85. Why aren't you signing this guy today? There's so few blue chip prospects in this sport.
Isn't this the like layup Coker signing? Hasn't it always been like the layup Coker, like unproven wrestler? He'll cut his teeth here in Bellator, Aaron Pico. All these guys, like this has been the Coker signing. I'm not sure why not, but I mean, I'm not about to proclaim.
Can I tell you probably why it's not the layup that it is? Yeah. The UFC now wants these guys. Like there's plenty of places for these guys now. There's Fight Pass, there's Contender Series. A few years ago, the Pico days and whatnot, they were like, all right, we're not going to deal with this. We don't have as many platforms and shows and things to service. Now there's a million things. Like they want... Look up Bo Nickal's name. I was actually kind of blown away by this. The amount of articles on him on UFC.com under the Fight Pass banner were a lot. And so to have him fight it on Icon, on Fight Pass, is obviously not UFC, but it's the next best thing.
Yeah.
Better that than have him fight on Showtime. Better that than have him fight on a PFL undercard or on Fubo TV or on Amazon for one championship. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Because if I'm one, one is trying to do American shows next year. They've just signed this deal with Amazon. Their first show, August 26th, is going to be in prime time. I'm signing Bo Nickal. Any guy that gets you this type of attention, his clip has over 1 million views.
Yeah.
So I'm curious to see how they handle this, because I think they could sign with someone today, and I'm pretty sure the promotion that he was talking about that said like you need a little more work was the UFC, and it's very clear that he wants to end up in the UFC, as they all do, and be the pound for pound champ. But he could probably get a pretty good deal right now if he signs, or they could play the waiting game and say, no, we'll take a few more of these, gain some notoriety, some momentum, some money, and then maybe our stock will go up even more.
Yeah. I mean, I think that'll ultimately be what happens, no?
Yeah, but I'm just curious, does a Bellator or PFL who could use a name like him, because I feel like those are the main, maybe
Sure.
one, do they come out with a gigantic deal? Because I really do think his ceiling is massive. I really think he will live up to his hype and try to usurp, because UFC, the same thing as Kayla. Kayla wanted to be in the UFC, but their low offer made it very hard for her to justify it. Does a PFL or Bellator come out with a massive deal that blows UFC out of the water, and then he's almost forced to take that, or does the UFC come competitive with with a solid deal as well? That's going to be the big question.
It's a bit of a risk. Not that I don't think you're. I think you're right that Bo Nickal is one of these prospects that like it's worth the risk, right? You want to be there, and you don't want to miss the boat. And there's rarely an opportunity where you're going to get a chance at somebody who's a blue chip prospect like this. But it is a risk, because if he's not, then you've made a Godfather offer and he turns out not to be the god. He turns out not to be what you wanted. So there's a risk there, and I think the UFC can play the waiting game. Ultimately, even if they make an amazing offer, let's just call it what it is. They're really building him to be a UFC guy. That's what it becomes.
Right.
Right? Like when he was talking to you and you asked, where do you want to be? He didn't say UFC, but he said, where I need to be one of the top 5 pound for pound guys in the world. And he's not being ambiguous about it. His goal is to be in the UFC and to be that top tier fighter. So is it worth, if you're Bellator, PFL, ONE, anybody, is it worth your investment to build him up for the UFC?
Yeah.
Maybe.
Well,
maybe
they
to
could
prove
keep him.
that
Look,
you can
Kayla could have left and she stayed.
Well, she tried, right?
Yeah, but she just got a deal that she couldn't turn down. So if they continue to come correct, then maybe they could keep him.
No, but I mean, like, she tried to leave PFL, right? Like, she tried to sign with Bellator.
Right. But not for the UFC. That would have been
not for the UFC. Not for the UFC. So yeah, I mean, I think it's a risk. I think it's probably a worthwhile risk. Who am I thinking of? Aaron Pico, maybe? Like, has talked about, look, Bellator took me in, gave me a shot. I'm super happy here. You could turn that around. You could have the next Aaron Pico. You could have the guy who's appreciative that you got in early, and are trying to build something with him and keep him for a long time. Or Bo Nickal could say, thanks for everything. I'm trying to be top 5 in the world, and I think I can only do that in the UFC. And that's what happens.
It's going to be very interesting. Very interesting.
But there's no doubt, right? Like, this is one of the brightest young prospects out there. Like, he has the wrestling tools, and if the hands come along, and I'm not putting too much stock into this knockout, it wasn't a high level opponent. But if the hands come along,
you still got to do it. You still got to do it. Like, I see people trying to discredit, saying like, that's my mailman or that's a truck driver.
Yeah, I mean,
you still got to do it. And especially in 33 seconds, it was another guy making his pro debut. He's going to be a better athlete than all these guys that he's fighting on he's a 3-time national champion. He's a Hodge Trophy winner.
We didn't used to see these fights. That's the difference, right? We didn't used to see these fights.
Yeah.
We didn't see the first 10 fights of John Jones' career. We didn't see these fights.
True.
Now we're seeing them for every single fighter. This is what they look like. Let's not pretend.
This is boxing.
This is to an extent. I think MMA is a little tougher, to be honest. I will say that, like, this is what they look like getting up to this level. There's no shame in that Bo Nickal win. He starts the dude, and that's what he's supposed to do. No, like, I'm not throwing any shade on that.
It won't happen, but I wouldn't be upset if he had 8 of these fights.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
He had 10 of these fights. It never
that's
happens.
What these look like.
He's probably going to go 2-3-0 and then sign one of these deals.
Yeah, I mean the curve is steeper for him because of how talented he is and because of the name and because of the attention. But yeah, he's showing he has an opportunity now to show if he's the real deal. I would feel comfortable wagering that he is.
Who do you think had a better weekend, Bo Nickal or Cody Rhodes? I mean, did you see that bruise?
I did it.
You didn't see the bruise?
I saw the bruise.
The bruise was insane.
I didn't see
do you think the bruise was legit?
Yeah. What do you mean?
Makeup.
You're saying like makeup?
I don't know. I saw a lot of people say makeup. Everyone wants to call BS when it comes to wrestling. That thing, this guy.
I mean, it's not out of the realm of possibility.
It would have rubbed off.
Yeah, I think he was hurt.
Hell in a Cell tears his pec off the bone, as they say. Shows up, his whole freaking pec is bruised. And then he goes through like a 25-minute match.
It looked like a torn pec, right?
That is
how that's supposed to look. So, I would assume he was legit hurt. But
oh my God, that was incredible.
I'm gonna pick Bo.
All right. Let me ask you this question. I'm actually curious to hear what you say. Movsar Evloev, Erin Blanchfield, Jeff Molina. Do either of those fighters become UFC champion? And if so, who first? Because I feel like all of them, people are saying, especially Movsar and Aaron, potential future champ there. All of them had wins on Saturday. That's the common thread here. Erin Blanchfield, 23. I feel like people have been saying for a minute she's a potential.
I think Evloev is going to be a champion.
You think so?
Yep. I could see a world where Blanchfield is a champion too. I don't think it's while Valentina is still champion though. But I do think Blanchfield has the tools to be a champion as well. I think she's really good. Molina, I'm not as high as the other two, but
I do like him though.
I think he's super talented, man.
Yeah.
I could see a world where he's a champion too.
Especially it's just hard. See, the thing about flyweight is less, you know what I mean? That's why I include him in that.
It's hard though to match, like he can't. I think Blanchfield and Evloev are further along. I'll say it like that. I think Molina has the tools. That dude is really, really talented. I think he has the tools. I think he has the team to one day be a champion. I can't see him fighting those guys at the top right now. Whereas Evloev and Blanchfield, I don't think they're far away, and I think they could be in that conversation sooner. But man, I don't see anybody at flyweight wrestling that belt away from Valentina. I think she's going to be one of those.
That's the thing that's stopping Aaron. I think what's helping Molina in this is that there's less competition at 25, although it's getting better. Movsar is legit be 16-0. Probably doesn't get the love that he deserves because none of his wins in the UFC, he has 6, have come via finish, all decisions.
Yeah, but
he's fighting tough guys. Dan Ige, Hakeem Dawodu, Nick
He's
Lentz.
not like a lay and pray guy. Like he's an aggressive wrestler. I don't think his style is like what people would think of when they're thinking of like lay and pray, boring. Like that dude's coming to hurt people, and he's really talented. Yeah, I think he's a future champ. I really do.
Shout out to the Tapology guys for that Askar Mozarov story where his record kept changing.
Was it Tapology? I thought it was Sherdog.
Oh, did I say
Sherdog?
That? Oh, shout out to the Sherdog guys. My bad.
Yeah.
I want to give credit where I thought it was Tapology. Was it not? Maybe
I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure it was Sherdog. They were the ones I saw pushing that story.
Shout out to them. I think it was Jay Petrie. Yeah.
Petrie.
Shout out to him. I saw a lot of talk about that, but yeah, that's a very bizarre story. In the end, he ended up losing to Alonzo Menefield. And how about Karolina Kowalkiewicz getting back? I did say she was sort of like, like our friend Dipperstein likes to say, H-Dow at Jace. I did say it. I said it was H-Dow. I mean, the problem is I'm starting to get a little gun shy, and that's why I feel
questioning yourself.
Well, I feel a certain way about this Haney situation. I haven't looked at the votes just yet. We'll end on that.
To feel? I mean,
but I did say rewind the tape, Frank. I said on Monday, Karolina big underdog in this fight. I don't remember what it was, like +2 something. I like her last win.
Is that true? I didn't look at the odds. Is that true?
Yes.
Man, I would have probably been on that one with you.
Well, she had lost 5 in a row.
Yeah, against the best of the best.
Right. And her last win was against Felice, and it was
but coming back off a huge layoff.
Yeah,
like
injury.
Talking about maybe
retiring.
Retiring is in the cards. You missed
Yeah, I missed that one.
Missed out.
Trust me, when she won, and then I was like, oh, watch this happen. Watch her win, and then Jairzinho
I mean, I don't want to say it
robbed.
again, but for you, the strategy, the what works seems to be with your heart.
The problem was Jairzinho came on. I got all fired up, and I was like, all right, let's go, Jairzinho. I cut a great promo for him.
I'm gonna give you an out here, not on the Haney thing.
Bad stoppage?
Because that's not bad stoppage, but that was a winnable fight for him. That was a winnable fight for him. He got in that exact position he was in against Volkov. They were trading. They got into a firefight. He has the power. That's the fight that he needs. That's the type of fight. If Volkov just stayed on the outside and was just picking him apart, he has no chance in that fight. It's Volkov by decision. He got him into a firefight and he lost the firefight, but he could have won the firefight. That is the type of fight he needed. He needed to get into an exchange like that. It wasn't a bad H-Dow pick.
The worst part about this is now we're going to get 5 more Volkov main events. No one main events more than Volkov.
I'm okay with it. I like him.
He's fine, but like enough with the main events. Every 3-4 fights, or months, it's another Volkov main event.
UFC is like Vince McMahon in the sense that they love the heavyweight division, right?
They really love the heavyweight division.
They love headlining cards with heavyweights. They would rather headline with like lower ranked heavyweights than higher ranked lighter weight fighters. I'm okay with it. I don't have anything against the Volkov main event, but I will say we've gotten some subpar heavyweight matchups just based on that. Like heavyweights headlining a card is a thing.
Look, very rarely is he in a boring fight, win or lose, so I'll give him that. It just seems like every 3-4 months he's in a main event. And I would like to see a little variety
Put
here
some
and there.
Respect on Volkov's.
I mean, come on.
I think you're. Look, I'll
seems like a lovely guy. I mean,
I think you're hurt, and that's okay. It's okay to be hurt right now. He ruined the streak. He kept the losing streak going. That's okay. I'll forgive this.
All right, let's go back to my vote here because I'm nervous. I'm looking at it right now. Over 1,000 votes.
And just be honest, because I'm not even going to look.
I'm looking. You can see it. It's on my Twitter. Does my Haney plus 110 decision H-Dow pick count? No, 49.5. Yes, 50.5. Frank?
Doesn't matter.
No!
Yes, Frank.
What the hell?
Yes, Frank.
Wait, here is accomplished, distinguished journalist, the great Aaron Bronstetter, my good friend. We always see eye to eye. Sticklers will say he wasn't an underdog, but the method of victory prop were underdog odds, and any other method of victory was technically the favorite. So it should count. Yes!
They're not underdog odds.
We fixed judging.
Do you want me to cut this into your infamous Rick?
Here's Jedi, who I'm not sure if he's on my side or not. He calls it the Helwani dog odds pick of the week. The H-Dow Pow.
People are getting fast and loose with the term underdog here.
Ty the MMA guy says, of course, remember the name Helwani. Shout out to Bilal.
Wait, Bilal said that?
Well, no, remember the name.
Oh, somebody else said remember.
He wrote, hashtag remember the name Helwani. Jason Gomez says, I don't know, man. You did pick Biggie Boy first, so did you get 2 week? Yes, my greatest week was Cheeto and Katie Taylor.
Yeah.
I'm allowed to. Who said
we're not debating anything about Jairzinho. That was an L. We know this.
Oh, here's Callie Gooner who says he bet 2 when it was Cheeto and Katie Taylor, but no one complained then. Not saying you're complaining, by the way. Just don't get the big stink about it generally. Thank you. Thanks says no way Jose. Haney, this from Caleb, was a heavy favorite. It wasn't that big of a heavy favorite, by the way.
What was he, by the way? It wasn't, right? He was less than 2-1, wasn't he?
Yeah. A bet on him cannot be considered a dog pick regardless of the odds. No. Stop the steal, says one guy, not saying. I have no idea what that means. Of course it does. An underdog pick bet, says Trenton. Bailey says a plus money bet doesn't equal an underdog.
Yeah, that's correct.
Picking a favorite to win by their most likely method of victory, especially.
That's correct.
New York Rick's being a hater, trying to get revenge for you constantly roasting him for his Ronda Rousey comeback fighter pick. I thought it. I didn't want to say it.
There's no revenge needed. It stands the test of time.
Either way, he was the clear choice in this one. Definitely after Kambosos missed weight on the initial scale.
I don't agree with that. That I don't agree with.
That what?
That it was like I don't think Devin Haney was like a no-brainer in this fight. I don't agree with that. I'm giving you credit.
Guy flew all the way to Australia. He was there by himself for the majority. His dad shows up like 8 hours before, which was great theater.
Anybody who's acting like this was like a foregone Haney conclusion, I definitely do not agree with that. Not at all.
By the way, the new undisputed lightweight champion on the show on Wednesday.
Ooh.
Mr. Haney.
You had him on Helwani show, right?
Yeah. But actually, it was request. He's like, he's champ now. He's got to come on the MMA. I was like, listen.
The champ says.
What Evan Korn wants, Evan Korn gets. You know Evan Korn?
Top ranked PR.
Yeah, he's the man. I love that guy.
Yeah, I mean, I'm excited about that division.
Boxing is. I know you like to pretend like I don't know anything about boxing. Boxing is so great. Even Ryan Garcia retweeted me on Saturday night. My guy, King Ryan. He's going up against Javier Fortuna. What are you talking about? Tank versus Ryan Garcia, I think, actually does 1 million pay-per-views.
What?
Yeah. You think more? Tank.
No, you're trolling me, right?
Tank Davis.
Tank sells 200,000 pay-per-views, and now he's going to do 1 million?
That's going to be who's he selling? He's fighting Isak Cruz. No one cares about these guys. Tank Davis.
Rolly was a fun fight. Yeah, but that he was losing.
But he wasn't. I mean, he's not a name. Ryan Garcia would be the biggest name that he's ever fought.
1 million? Come on.
I think it actually could do 1 million.
Fury By the way, doesn't even do 1 million. You're
the all access would be huge. What do you think it gets? 500?
Stop it.
What do you think it gets?
Yeah, 500.
First of all, that would be a huge win.
Hey, listen, in the new pay-per-view climate, that's a big number. 1 million is
UFC's doing 500 for pretty
you're crazy.
Substandard cards. UFC's on fire on pay-per-view. Now I know it's a totally different.
You're crazy if you think that does 1 million.
Tank Davis is such a big star. People love Tank.
Where are we getting this from? Is this? Oh God, we're just doing this again. This is the Tommy Fury stuff all over again.
Oh, by the way,
everybody's a huge star. Everybody's
wait a second.
Everybody's a star.
Okay, let me ask you a question. Who's a bigger star, Tank Davis or? Okay, who's a bigger star, Tank Davis or Ryan Garcia?
Ryan Garcia, for sure.
Let me just see. How many followers does Tank Davis have?
Well, here's what I would counter with that actually. Tank Davis is a proven pay-per-view guy. And that is a calculated thing that they've been doing.
3.6 million.
That is he is a known pay-per-view quantity. Ryan Garcia isn't, right?
King Ryan 8.8.
Yeah,
I wonder how many UFC fighters have 8.8 million followers.
Not a lot. That's like very rare. I don't think even like the Izzies and Kamarus have that. That's like the Conor and Habib. Now they're obviously ahead of that. But that's big numbers. Socially, there's no comparison. Ryan Garcia is a phenomenon. Who is he?
Yeah.
Socially, Ryan Garcia, no doubt. But to his credit, Tank is a guy who can sell pay-per-views, and that was a concerted effort by him.
Biggest crowd, by the way, at Barclays for boxing when he fought Rolly.
Tank draws, but the draw is like we're talking like 200,000. And you're all of a sudden it's like five times that.
But by the way, as you know, sometimes it takes two to tango. Anderson Silva was not drawing anything. Then he meets Chael, and he's drawing 1 million.
Yeah,
I just think those two young guys together, the fan bases that they would reach, right? Gervonta, huge with the African American fans. King Ryan, huge with the Hispanic fans, and then you've got in the middle, you've got just the casual fans, right? Like the me's of the world.
I think
together, that's magic.
I think this is the same thing as the Tommy Fury thing. Those middle casual fans, I don't think they're buying Tank Davis versus.
By the way, who's he fighting? Jake Paul. You see,
great,
called it.
Eddie Hearn saying he thinks that's going to happen.
I wonder how old Jake and Nikisa feel about Eddie Hearn breaking their news.
Well, he didn't say it's done, it's going to happen. He said, I think, I think that's what's next.
But still, maybe not his news to break.
For sure. Listen, they're friends now. Him and Jake Paul are.
Honestly, I don't think they're friends. To be honest, I'm really curious to see. This is a whole other discussion, but I'm really curious to see what happens with the Amanda and Katie fight. I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, I'm opening up a whole other can of worms. You know what? If I'm the UFC, what I would do? If I'm the UFC right now, I call up my good friend Eddie Hearn and I say, like, this is your way to get back at those guys. Forget about Amanda rematch. Let me talk to you about a little co-pro, Katie Taylor versus Holly Holm, Croke Park. I'm Dana White. I'll say, all right, let's do a little Zuffa boxing action. Holly has one fight left. there isn't much to do with her at this point at 35. Like, who's she going to fight? Like, she's not fighting for the belt.
Yeah.
They're probably not going to resign her. She makes a pretty good amount of money compared to the other women. Let's do a co-pro. Let's cut those guys out, and let's do this at Croke Park. And I feel like from a historical standpoint, from a money standpoint, from a draw standpoint, from a MMA media coming over and cover, like, Holly versus Katie is sort of a dream matchup.
I don't hate this. I don't hate this at all.
Interesting.
And I haven't been a fan of your boxing ideas lately, but I don't hate this. Why do you say getting back? Just because Serrano and Taylor seems to not be on track, you mean?
Getting back. Oh, yes, because there have been reports that it's not a done deal.
Serrano's going to fight in August, and it seems like Taylor's going to fight after that.
Yeah. And when I say get back, I'm talking about like the feud that they have. You know, the Jake Paul Dana feud.
I don't hate it.
That's the best fight that Holly Holm could have in her career right now. Her fighting some random 35er at the Apex is nothing. Does nothing for her, does nothing for me, does nothing for you, does nothing for ESPN or UFC. Her fighting Katie Taylor and the UFC trying to make it happen while still under their umbrella is a nice little feather in their cap.
Here's the problem. Here's the one big problem. You do that, and now you have to give Francis Ngannou a fight against Tyson Fury. You do that, and you have now opened the door. For all up until now, right? Until right this moment, it's been Conor forced it, and it was only Conor.
Right. Now you're opening.
You do this, and you've sunk the argument that you can't do this. It is now Francis Ngannou versus Tyson Fury. No doubt has to happen. Look what you did for Holly Holm. Look what you did against Katie Taylor.
Is that the worst thing in the world? Because you get him for one fight, and if he somehow pulls it off, now you're in the Francis Ngannou business.
Well, I'll be honest. It seemed to me the last time you spoke to Francis, it seemed to me that this is what he wants.
Yeah.
He wants to fight the one fight with Tyson Fury and fight in the UFC. That was my read. That was what I took away from it. It seemed like he was leaning in that direction. So if you're the UFC, you could do worse than that. But again, you are now setting a precedent, right? Like the first time this happens is now the 100th time it happens. You are now opening that door for other fighters.
Do they care about that though? Does the UFC care about precedent? I remember one time I asked Dana White about step aside money, and I was like, "Well, there's a precedent," and he got so mad at me for asking about a precedent with UOL. This was with Bisping and GSP.
Oh, it only matters for how much people will hold their feet to the fire. If they do this proposed Taylor Holm thing that you're talking about, Francis Ngannou will hold their feet to the fire. That's a guarantee. That fight now has to be.
But does he have to hold their feet to the fire? I mean, he can literally walk away.
They may want to do it. They may want to do that. But again, like now they're opening the door for that. And it may not necessarily be a bad door to open.
The thing is, when they did Mayweather McGregor, the lift was so light, they had nothing to do. All they had to do was show up.
Dana had to hype McGregor one or two times on the stage, and that was it.
He actually had a blast because I think he could be an old school boxing promoter where he was just backing one guy. Book that I'm reading, it's a very easy read, but it's a very enjoyable read that I recommend to any fan out there listening right now. I think it's only 175 pages. I'm halfway through, and I just started over the weekend. Mark Ratner's book.
Oh, yeah.
It's great. I love Mark Ratner. He's probably my favorite person at the UFC and has always been kind to me, and is just a legend. Former Nevada State Athletic Commissioner, obviously now VP of Regulatory Affairs. He's a Hall of Famer. He's the reason why MMA is legal in all these states. I didn't know this story, but he tells a story in the book that the week of the fight, Adi Attar, Conor's manager, went to his office and asked Mark to be the guy to oversee Floyd getting his hands wrapped in the locker room on behalf of Team McGregor. And as he said, he's like, usually, I'm in a commission role, this or that. But on this night, I was just, Team UFC. And so I could actually go there on behalf of Conor. And he said he was honored. It was just a really cool anecdote about his great career. This dude was going to like Joe Louis and Floyd Patterson fights back in the day. So anyway, just to say, like, they had nothing to do that night. The UFC just had to show up. They do a home Katie Taylor fight. They probably don't have a lot to do because it's a boxing. DAZN would air it or something like that. Maybe they even cut a deal and air it on Fight Pass.
I was going to say,
if they do Francis, ESPN is a pig in shit.
Yeah, I think it would be a little different this time. I think they'd want to be more. Look, I feel like last time, correct me if I'm wrong, their hand was forced, right? It was, Conor's going to get this done. The only way that we can get involved is to put our brand on it, let it happen.
I mean, no, they had to give him the okay. He was under contract. You know what it really was? It was perfect timing for them because it happened when they sold the company. And that was part of the reason why they wanted to do it, because here's a ton of money coming in and we don't have to really put anything up other than just like be in business with Conor. Great. And, you've heard Dana talk about this in several interviews. He was in a really bad place after the sale. Like, he didn't want the company to be sold. He had to lock himself in his hotel room, all this stuff. I think it was perfect timing because their biggest fight of the summer, by the way, same summer as UFC 200. No, sorry, it was the next year. But the biggest fight of the summer by far required so little lift for them after, they sold the company. It was just, it was perfect timing.
I think, I say all that to say, I think they will want to be more involved. I don't think they'll want to take a hands-off approach this time. I think they will be motivated to be more involved and make it happen. So yeah, I mean, listen, I'd watch it. I would watch it.
Holm versus Katie Taylor is must-see TV. Holm versus, name a 35er is just kind of her playing out the end of her contract.
Yeah, I agree with that. I wonder if she does, but I agree with that.
I think she does. Now that she knows that she can't win a belt, I think she does. By the way, can't wait for Tuesday morning fighting. How about that Inoue Donaire 2 fight? See,
yeah.
I got some
you trying to flex your boxing?
Yeah, some boxing takes.
It is a great fight.
The current voting results are 50.8 say yes, 49.2 say no. I'm going to stop the count. I mean, there's nothing really else to say.
Listen, you're plastic. Should we get you one? A plastic belt?
I mean, I have one right here. Thank you.
No, that's not. How dare you? How dare you disrespect our friend Robert Pearson? That is not. There is no plastic involved there.
I will never forget the day that Frank didn't have my back. I mean, this could have been a perfect opportunity to just be like, yeah, I got your back, bro. No problem. And you left me hanging.
I'm not a yes man.
Thank you.
Fair enough.
He's on the side of justice. He's on the side of truth and honesty. And
you also just laughed at your own joke, Frank. I mean, you should have gone silent there.
That was Yoon, actually. She started tackling. Yeah.
You can't open the mic, say something, and then laugh at your own joke. It just doesn't have the same kind of effect. I thought he was going to say something back.
Yeah, I thought he was going to say something.
Cat got his tongue. All right, well, there you have it. So your official ruling is we're still on a losing streak.
Of course.
My official ruling is we're back, baby. We're back, and we're currently eyeing Glover Ioana. Yes.
Is that how you want to do it? Is that what you really want?
Listen, a win's a win's a win. Okay, let me ask you this.
Is that what
when Kai Kara-France wins on July 30th, if he wins, tough fight, you think he's going to throw that belt off to the side?
There's two different types of guys.
No.
Justin Gaethje famously, didn't want it. No, I don't, because to your point, like it represents a lot of money. Do I think? I'll say this: I don't think he'll feel like it's whole until he fights Deiveson Figueiredo.
Listen, I'm not saying I'm going to, I'm not going to retire. I'm not done. I just needed this win to get my mojo back. I was thinking about it. It is crazy that I went that many in a row and then I just can't get,
It's
back.
almost like this betting thing is a little bit random and a little bit.
For me, especially. I mean, 2 years ago, I didn't even know what plus 110 meant.
I'll say that. You know what? Listen, I've done nothing but give you credit, but yes. I am sticking to the rules here. But I will give you credit. Your betting knowledge has come a hell of a long way from when we used to, talk about this years ago.
I honestly disagree with you.
What do you mean?
What the hell do I know?
You to what you just said, you literally didn't even know what plus and minus meant.
Right. But there are guys, I when I hear, these dudes, like I hear Conor speak about it, it's a different type. I don't know what the hell I'm doing.
Not comparing yourself to Conor.
I mean, what is he?
There's levels, units. As Corey Anderson says. There's levels.
There's levels. I'm feeling pretty good. To me, the biggest problem is when you talk to a lot of people is you overthink things. So someone will tell me something about someone and I'll be like, oh, this, that.
For sure.
As opposed to it's right there in front of you.
Yeah. No, there's something to that. The simplicity is key. Are you going to make an official pick or are we just going to...
No, I saved that for Wednesday.
Oh, you're not even going to make one?
You got to keep the people
last Monday
guessing.
Or...
No, it was Wednesday. He was on.
Wednesday?
Yeah, he was on Wednesday. I can't give it away on a Monday. I need them to come back on Wednesday.
Wow.
Are you coming in on Wednesday?
No.
So no one's going to be here with me. I'm going to be all alone.
Yeah.
But you'll join the Zoom, right, Eric?
I'll be on Zoom.
It feels like it's hit or miss, the Zoom thing right now. Sometimes you're on
a microphone thing, but that's
has it been
resolved.
rectified?
You gotta talk to Frank over
Has it
here.
been rectified?
Oh, it's totally fixed.
It's fixed?
Oh, yes.
Okay. At the beginning of the day when I was in the back, I said, you know what, guys? I feel like there's a chance we might end this show at 3:30. It's not 3:30, but it's a nice tidy 3 hours. I'll tell you who'd be happy about this.
Who?
Christina Douglas and Glenn Jacobs.
Oh, come on. No, they really wouldn't. This is 2 hours
This
running.
is actually two. This is too long.
Come on.
Mike Foss, shout out. All right.
Mike will want the content.
Yeah, you'd say go 3 more hours. All right. Thank you very much, New York Rick. Appreciate your time. There he is, New York Rick, the pride of Long Island, kind enough to join us. Connor, as you may have heard, is on his European vacation, but there it is. Yes, thank you. He was watching. Did you see that tweet? He was watching for 4 seconds. What do you think? Does it count?
No.
Doesn't count. All right. Final look at the votes. 50.8. There it is. It's official. It counts. It counts, baby. Frank, you know what I say to that? To all the haters?
What's that?
4 o'clock, you can hear my music. Fun day. You know, we try to teach you about the youth of the sport. We try to let you know about, who's to come. So you can go to your next fight party and say, I know that guy. I've heard of that guy. I've heard interviews with that guy or gal. That's what we try to do here. We don't just jump on the bandwagon. We don't just talk to champions. We talk to the youth. We talk to the future. We talk to the prospects. We talk to tomorrow's headliners, tomorrow's superstars. And that's what you got on today's program. Oh, by the way, someone said to me, you got a future champ on your show today. And I said, well, you can actually make the case for all 5 of them being future champs. Molina, Blanchfield, Bo Nickal, Kaikar France, Brandon Moreno, former, but potentially future. I know he's not here, so I can say. In any event, fun show. Thank you very much to everyone who tuned in. Thank you very much to everyone who stopped by. Thank you to the crew in the back. Appreciate you all very much. And we'll be back on Wednesday. Got a nice little lineup. And we've got an in-studio guest on Wednesday. I'll tell you more about him on Wednesday morning. So stay tuned for that. But it's always fun when you have an in-studio guest, right? It's a different kind of interview. Looking forward to this one. Haven't talked to this individual in quite some time. Thank you very much to Jeff Molina. Do you, my man. Congrats on the win and way to represent. Thank you very much to Erin Blanchfield. Congrats on the win to her as well. Thank you to Bo Nickal. Congrats on the tremendous win. Kaikar France, good luck to him July 30th. Brandon Moreno, good luck to him July 30th as well. Back on Wednesday, same time and place. Until then, I say peace. Amen.